Cool, David. I see the Northern Lights going on. Cool. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and start. One, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come out today for the event that myself and Professor Travada actually set up. This is our Capoeira in Detroit first podcast and meeting. This is something that I, not just myself, but myself and, well, we got one more person jumping in. This is something that myself and Travada actually have had in the back of our brains for like, a while. And, we were like, yeah, this needs to come to the forefront because, there's a lot of history actually, not just to say Michigan, but particularly in Detroit, that a lot of individuals don't, they either don't know, it's never been talked about. There's many factors. However, we chose to change that dynamic starting today. So again, just introduce myself as well. I'm a contramestrepequenininho. I'm the leader and teacher for Creative Movement Brazil here in Detroit. Teach Capoeira Angola and other forms of Afro-Brazilian dance, folkloric dance. Yeah, so that's what to do. I'm going to move forward and then introduce everybody else. Travada, go ahead. Professor Travada.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Again, like contramestrepequenininho said, I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their schedules to show up. As he said, this is a topic that I don't recall ever being publicly talked about, and that's the history of capoeira from our perspective in Detroit. So I think it's something that both he and I, and I'm sure everybody else on here, feel is very important to discuss. And I'm glad to see some familiar faces. It's always positive. I think when we get together and we're going to keep it positive, we're going to laugh, joke, and then we're going to talk about some things that if memory serves me correct, I can be corrected though, because my memory is horrible on certain things. But again, I'm Professor Travada. I teach for Philus Ubimba Detroit. I teach at Philus Ubimba Detroit currently, and yeah, let's keep it moving on the panel. Thank you, guys.
Anybody can go next. You guys just unmute and introduce yourself.
Oh, hello everybody. How's it going? Here. I haven't, well, officially only in capoeira. I've only studied with Professor Travada. Back in the day, my family, they practiced capoeira for a long time, and it was a form of, I want to say possibly capoeira Angola, but they called it capoeira Angala. And it was focused on lots of grappling. And this was like kind of in the 80s. My family moved over here from Chicago and Ohio around that time. So my grandfather practiced. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, I looked for capoeira all around Detroit, and the only one I could find was Professor Travada. And then I just occasionally joined his classes, and it's been about 19 years later, and I'm here with you guys now. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming as well, brother. We greatly appreciate, you taking the time, just to come in and sit and enjoy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, next. Uh-oh. Can't go back crickets.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, it's like you're already in, so it's no backing out now.
I did
How you doing? I'm Mestre Shango, originally from Michigan Academy de Capoeira, 1996. It's a part of Capoeira Manchinga. Then go down Joro, and I'm part of Capoeira Joro in my group, Salve Capoeira. Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's nice to see everybody here. So yeah, haven't been back to Detroit in a while, but I'm planning to. All right, y'all.
Go.
Can I say one thing before he goes? And I say this with all sincerity. I hate that guy, man. I'm joking. That's my boy. We always do this, and I sent Mr. Shango the message, and he didn't get back to me in typical Mr. Shango fashion. So I'm glad he's coming, man. And I love you, brother. And it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time, bro. It's been a long time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Me and Trovy been saying I hate you for 20 years, but it's all love. That's what it really means.
All right, next. Don't be shy.
Yeah. Floor is open. Introduce yourself and yeah, go from there.
Howdy. This is Hesmungu, Alan Edwards from Port Huron, Michigan originally. I started training with a dude some of you know named Atrevido, who got his start because there was a group at Fair State University run by a guy named Lonzo, who was part of the original thing going on in Detroit with Barrett that I think Trovoada has talked about or will talk about. So I've done a lot of training with Trovoada over the years, for which I'm very grateful. And I'm not going to be able to stick around too long, but this is awesome. And I at least wanted to be able to say hello and see who was here. Started in 98 or 99, and that's it for me.
That's good. Yeah, and thank you for stopping by, Hismongo. Even if you guys aren't able, stay on for the whole time, that's okay. The thing is, I feel like this isn't going to just be like a first time for this actual meeting together. I see it, possibly being a second, a third, and just, who knows how can I say, we never know how capoeira is going to take us. So needless to say, we just go with the flow. We just let her do her thing. So, if it's, so we always have opportunity. Okay. All right. Next person, go ahead, introduce yourself. Well, no.
All right, I'll go. I'm instructor Bayano. Started off with Capoeira Mandinga, Detroit in like 98. No Shango, Benny Jella Melandro. Started training. My brother's on here too, Shogranji. His big head self. Only thing you see is eyes and forehead. But now I moved to Kentucky, started teaching down there. Then got with Agitado in 2003. Then got with FDO. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. All right. Yeah. All right. That's all I got to say.
All right. Okay. All right. Next. Anybody next?
Well, I mean, since he called me out, you know what I'm saying? Dang, I got to go now. I mean, what's up,
well.
What's up? What's up? Professor Shogranji. I started the same in Detroit, Capoeira Mandinga, 1998. Like for me, like when we first started, like it was amazing. Capoeira was super amazing. So I fell in love with it instantly. And then I don't know if like a lot of you guys know this, but the teacher we had at the time, he came in one day and told us that he was gonna be teaching Muay Thai. I'm like, I don't do no dang on Muay Thai. So I was like, all right, well, I'm done. I quit. Like I'm through, we crying and everything. Like, and then Big Tro stepped in, like, nah, man, I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna teach the class. So I'm like, all right, cool. So Tro did the big brother thing and stepped up in there. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be here these years later. So I mean, that's first and foremost for sure. Yeah, so I was with Mandinga, with Agitado, with Capoeira Agitado now. So yeah, I mean, it's been real. Good looking Tro, you know what I'm saying?
Cool. I'm gonna wait until later because I totally forgot, other than in the introduction, I didn't give any background to any type of from anything. So yeah, I'm gonna come back around to that after everybody's introduced themselves. So yeah.
Oh no, we have to introduce ourselves.
So next person, go ahead. Mosquitero. Yeah, I want to let Mosquitero know. Yeah, Mosquitero. He's awesome. That's all I can do. He's awesome. Yeah, his mic's not cool, but he's awesome. All right, next person, go ahead.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Malandro. And
Man, is that Black Panther? Oh,
It's challenge day.
and I started
What up,
capoeira in what's good? What up though? Started capoeira in Detroit. First class was at the Livonia YMCA in '97. I was 16. And I was telling someone this story that, I saw Only the Strong, I played Tekken 3, religiously. So when I showed up to class, it was, Shango beating Jella, Linsu, all those guys like at the front. And then I just jumped in the front line, like doing the jing, and they were like, oh no, you it's your first class. You gotta go to the back. Like, oh, sorry guys. I'm just happy to be here, guys. I'm not no way. Let's go, man. And I just want to say I'm very, very grateful for the community that, kind of really in a way like raised me, because Gamelera used to give me rides to class. I'm 16, 17 years old, used to give me rides to class. And then when he wasn't training as consistently, then Trovado was the one to pick up the slack and give me rides to class. Professor Trovado, he's also the one who, like, I remember gave me my first hastera. And then again, yeah, also as Shogranji was saying earlier, that, when our first teacher, Barrett Leverette, Camarada, stopped and switched over to another discipline, Trovado was the one who kind of like held us down. Also gave me opportunities to, teach and share what little knowledge I had at the time. So it's great to be here with all of you all. Yeah, and good to see how young everyone still looks, man. Everyone
looking
looks
pretty.
good.
Most definitely.
Everyone looks good. All right, thank y'all. Thank you for your time.
Cool. Thank you, Melandro. Let's see, next. Anybody? Feel free to jump in.
I guess I'll go. My name is Instructor Talento. I started way back in 2005 at Grand Valley. Lagatisha was teaching classes out there back then. We were under Trove and Carval. So Manjinga back then. And then training Grand Rapids for a while, moved over to Novi area, started training with the group with Trove. Went independent for a little bit, trying to find my way. Trained with Show for a long time. He beat me up a bunch. And then, yeah, I'm recently trying to find my own path again. So, yeah, Trove, Carval, Malandro, Heshmungu, Atrevido, Joe, all those guys been integral in me growing up in Capoeira. I remember my first Capoeira class actually was a workshop at GV with Carval and Atrevido. And Atrevido had just had knee surgery, so he was laying on the wrestling mats. And Carval said we were going to have a hada. And Vito's just sitting there saying, if it's your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. I was like, what is happening here? What is going on? Because
Next
these guys
stop,
were coming through.
St. Clair West Subway Station.
Oh, yeah, that's me. What's up, bud?
Great, excellent. All right. Thank you, Talento. Let's see, next, anybody, feel free.
Hey, please don't be shy. We're the point of this meeting is to get to know each other, give a little history. Don't be shy. Just come on, say a little bit about yourself. Even if you have no, you know, like, I'm not in Detroit, I'm just listening. We just want to know who's here, who you are. And you know, you're a part of history too, because you're living and you're doing something. So please just come on, feel free to, you know, introduce.
Okay, I'll try to take you up. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, hello, my name is Uche Kube. I am and I'm in California now, but as far as Michigan, I went to University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, started in 97 and graduated in 2001. And I was back and forth, you know, on my holidays to San Jose, and actually came back and I was around here for a bit and I trained here. But when I was in Michigan, I started capoeira at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, trained with a guy from Harlem named Umara. He went by Umara and he was a student of Jean Grundy. But I told you I went home for a year. I trained out here. When I came back, he was gone. We started a group in Ann Arbor. We were teaching. You know, there was like maybe 3 or 4 of us that had been training for a few years. We taught classes. We attracted a master from Miami who came from Miami. He was from Bahia. His name was Caboquino. And my senior year at Michigan, he took over the group, particularly from me. And you know, I was on my way out, you know, and to, you know, travel off, you know, and leave Michigan because I was graduating. But he also started a group he also taught classes in Detroit on Woodward. I apologize, I don't know the building or anything. This was over 20 years ago. But,
I remember it.
you know,
I'm actually,
remember.
Yeah, Serengeti Ballroom.
That sounds familiar, but hey, it was like upstairs. I just barely remember the space, you know, made a few trips as he was starting that, but I did not play a crucial role in him being in Detroit per se. You know, that was something, you know, he came out, got our group, you know, we started off doing a couple workshops. So, you know, I thought I'd just check out and see what you guys were talking about. I'm interested in the history of Detroit capoeira. I'm interested. So I came to listen, but you know, that to honor your request that we introduced, there it is.
And thank you, brother. It's, you know, again, like I said, this is just, you know, we're all just talking. You know, communication helps build, you know, build positivity and unity, especially a community. And this is our goal here for everyone to, you know, just to be comfortable, to be, you know, unified as such, you know. So yeah. All right, next.
I guess following up on the not being in Detroit conversation, I trained with Contramestre Camarão in Burlington, Ontario. So your side of Toronto by a little bit, until, I guess in reality, until COVID started. And then partway through that, I moved to Midland, Ontario. So I'm now about 2.5 hours north in the middle of nowhere. And I just started teaching here in August of last year. So I'm a class of 3, I think, right now, technically. 4 if you count this one. So yeah, I met Trovoada in May 2011. He stayed at my place for the Encontro in Burlington. So I've known Trovoada for 12 years or so now, and sort of I've been to Detroit a handful of times for either his or Mestre Lobinho's events in Ypsilanti. So I've come to class, I've been to a couple of batizados. I think I went to Grand Rapids one time. So I've met Talento before, I've met Malandro before, I've met Chocolate, I've met Carvão before. So I've met a lot of the community in passing, at least, over the years. And then for the first 2 or 3 years that I was training, I got to travel a lot because I had very little going on other than work 9 to 5 and train. So I was in Rochester a lot. I was in Detroit a fair bit, and I traveled for work and got to go train as much as I could. So now I'm trying to sort of rebuild that and make some more connections because now I'm a little bit on my own, far enough away that it's not just an afternoon trip from Toronto.
Thank you, thank you. I want to just add on to that too, just to keep it in the mix of it. One thing for sure I can say about capoeira is that we're never alone, period. We are never alone. Capoeira has its own life, its own way, its journey of how it teaches and touches us all the time. So, and I know you're gonna hear from a lot of the different stories from each individual as well too. That we have, some of us have run into those times where we have been by ourselves. We had to make some of the self journeys, but hey, we're still here. So, all right. So, next, anybody?
Hello, everybody. My name's Pasta. I'm from Detroit. However, my capoeira journey started in Atlanta. I was with Grupo Abolição, in Candeias, in Cordão de Ouro. And yeah, that's about it at this point. That's all I got right now. Oh boy.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anybody next? Let's just give an intro. Real brief. Doesn't have to be long. And again, don't feel don't hold back. You get to introduce yourself. You don't have to give a full background. We're not looking for the whole novel or it's a job interview. So you just name, brief something. Go ahead. Well, here I'm gonna. I'm gonna put I'll put one person out there, and then I guess we can just go into the rest of the actual evening. Macaco Aranha, vamos.
Contramestre. Hi everybody. Macaco Aranha, Jackson. I live in Detroit. Used to train, play, study capoeira in the Bay Area for a long time, around the 2000s. And then took a break for almost 20 years and lived in India. And when I returned to Detroit, very, very, very fortunate to find the teachings of contramestrepequenininho, and I've been able to train under his guidance now for the past year.
And he's still alive.
Right.
I know we got some people texting me. You guys can't see, but they're texting me. So it's going to be some other people coming in and joining us. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm actually on the phone with Barrett Camarada, and he's trying to get in, but he's having some technical difficulties. So at some point he will join us. I guess maybe we can get started because, and then before we get started, contramestrepequenininho, you have to give us your brief intro, because I don't think you got an opportunity, did you?
Nope. Just went straight into it. Well, I want to first, because I just saw the chat come up, I want to say salve to Professor Lang, Village Bimba, Toronto. She says she's on a streetcar at the moment, unfortunately, but she is here. So I want to say, welcome and nice to meet you. So I'll do mine real quick. Yeah. So name's Kelvin White, contramestrepequenininho. My background is I originally started beforehand in I want to say martial arts wise. 7 was like a lot of different Asian martial arts. Started with Tang Sudo, Asian influence marts, so like Tang Sudo, went to Taekwondo, a couple of other things. Mostly all of us it was that one factor of what we saw. Everybody mostly saw only the strong. Yeah, after I saw that, needless to say, I was hooked. And you know, from there, I just kept going. I don't know if he's in here. He just popped in for a second. You know what? Actually, he's here now.
I'm so sorry. I just joined. I just want to know what this is really about. I just found the link and I joined. I just want to know what this is.
May I ask your name on here?
I'm Allison.
Allison. Well, Allison, what this is basically it's the actual meeting that we have about the Afro-Brazilian dance capoeira. It's influenced
OMG,
in
I'm
Detroit.
Brazilian.
Is this about Pele, a soccer player?
No, it's not.
Where are you from? Are all of
Ronaldinho?
you people from Brazil? Excuse me.
Well, what
I'm
we're
sorry.
gonna do?
Is all these?
Can
are
we
all
learn
these
about?
people-
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry. Are all these people?
Okay, what we're gonna do?
Fuck you stupid Jew. Why would you mute me, you fucking nigger?
Oh wow! And we're gonna remove that person. So this is one of those things right there that we did not want to deal with. So moving forward, someone's ignorance. All right. So now what we're gonna do? I left off on that. Actually, it just popped in right now. So actually, I was introduced into capoeira going to high school, going to Denby art class. I came across one person that actually came across the desk, and he's actually in here right now. I always still today tell this story because it has a tremendous amount of value. You know, came by, saw what I was drawing. He's like, "Oh, I do Capcom stuff. You know, I'm in the anime." I'm like, "Okay." Needless to say, I had to give him his props. I was like, "Man, killing my stuff." So, but it helped. It helped me step up. So, needless to say, after that, I you know, I was actually able to hold on one sec, guys. I'm actually let's see. Actually have to stop one person from joining. That was very ridiculous. All right. So basically what happened from that is that needless to say, we were talking. This was still around the time of Lycos and Yahoo groups. So none of us it was nothing really that informative about capoeira that we could get. So needless to say, I was riding my bike back home from a couple friends' house, turned, saw somebody on the corner doing cartwheels, doing melody friends, stuff like that. And I'm like, what the? So needless to say, and you know, I don't mind saying this because I don't mind people getting a laugh off of my expense. Turned real sharp, flipped off my bike in the street, shot up, came back around there, and who was it? Which I would like him to introduce himself next. Brent Darius. And you know, talked to him. He was like, "Yeah, you know, I've been doing capoeira for a while. You know, over here with capoeira Jinga." I'm like, "Oh wow, this is great." So, needless to say, I saw that as a divine intervention. You know, and from there, that was around. I think it was, if I remember, like 1997 or such. And from there, just kept going. We, you know, part of Terry's part of Capoeira Majinga, started learning things from him. Then after that, we were part of Os Malandros de Mestre Toro from San Diego at the Mestre Puerto Bello. Then after that, you know, we all had our growth in different things that we you know, journeys in life. But I wanted to continue on to Capoeira Angola. So came across actually Mr. Cabuquinho out of Rwanda when you know he was here starting teaching Ann Arbor and then also going to Detroit. Like you're saying, that Serengeti ballroom. I still have a like picture of that with like me with a like actual afro when I still had hair, but you know. But needless to say, you know, from that, I kept training with Mr. Cabuquinho, took me to Brazil. First time in 2014, second time I went 2016, but within that, you know, learned a lot, graduation in Brazil, come back, and then my goal, as much like all of us, is just pass on this amazing journey that we had to like not just the next generation, but to everyone, so someone can have something to enjoy. So,
Hello. It's Allison. I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if there's an age limit for this group. I'm sorry, you're muted.
We're actually like teen and up. So I would say
All
like,
right, all right.
yeah.
I just turned 13.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this will probably be like okay for you, Allison. But thank you for joining.
It's okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. Needless to say. Okay. Going back, needless to say, this is the thing that I always heard about with Zoom, but never experienced. So needless to say, moving on. I laid out the floor, so he has to come up, who's gonna give his intro. I already laid it out for him.
Me?
Pretty much. We gotta
What's
take
up,
advantage of this
everybody?
hot provider.
What up, family? I ain't seen y'all in a while. Like, I see you, Gary. I see you doing the kung fu forms on the gram. William, Alondro. I see all y'all guys, man. Y'all been. Yeah. Hey, I haven't seen some of y'all in so long. I thought Maywa was gonna be here, because he be on the Instagram quite a bit too.
I'm trying to get him in here. I'm gonna punch the chops in a second while you talk.
Right.
Sorry to interject, but Professor Trovada, or has anyone else seen Gunga? It's been a long time since I've seen him as well.
Excuse me, from what I can remember, and somebody will correct me, Gunga is still in the service and Air Force, I believe. Am I correct? But he's traveling. I think he's living overseas with his family. Once we get off, I can send you his profile, and it'll have his Facebook profile, and it'll have all his information, because I haven't talked to Gunga in quite a while, but that's the last that I heard. But we got some other people coming on, and one is Barrett Camarada. So I think he needs to give an introduction. We got Largatisha. So if we can, I think it would be fitting if we start maybe, and Barrett can give his introduction. Correct? Everybody in agreement with that?
Is that like Barrett from Capoeira Man?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's man. Wow, I haven't heard from him in a while. Nice.
Here, I know. Terry, you didn't finish your part.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead and finish.
Oh, just some history. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right. Yeah. I guess I grew up in martial arts, African martial arts. Actually, I used to study at the Tamarian Institute under Kalinde, doing African martial arts, Aha, Saki, Shimshu Shuru, and a few other things, and Filipino stick arts and whatnot. But I think when I saw Capoeira, it was like that movie Only the Strong came out, and it was like the cheesiest trailer they had. It had like Marcus Costco's, and he's like, "Hey, damn! Turn that music up!" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, what the heck is that?"
I don't know, but you got muted.
Yeah, but I was sold after that. I was like, you know what? That's pretty good. I like to check it out. Started checking it out, but then it kind of faded off, but then I think it was when Tekken came out, and I saw Eddie Gordo. At that point, I was like, okay, I got to find somebody who's doing this, and I think that's when I actually found a place in, I don't remember where it was at, 7 Mile and Lasser. I know you remember that, Gary. That was when I met Gary Travado over there, and a few other guys. We were training with Barrett, good guy. Barrett was super, super nice. And I remember that one song they used to play. What was that song that you always play for the warm up, and it just take you to another world, like like that particular song. I don't remember the words to it, but like that was it. I went full speed ahead, and I think I started wanting a little bit more culture with it. Because I knew that it was created by the African slaves escaping So I wanted to get a little bit more culture, and I guess my travel, in my travels, I ended up finding an individual called named Dennis Newsom, who Kelvin, was it Michael? What was Michael's name? I remember his name, Kenneth.
I can't remember.
I don't remember any of their capoeira names anymore.
Kenny Moody?
Yeah, he was old. No, it was
No, not Kenny, not Kenny Moody. No.
Okay, that was with Kalindi. I'm sorry, keep going. Mhm.
Yeah, but we eventually started training with Dennis Newsom, and then we started going out there to San Diego for our Bachizados. And it was fun. It was rough. It was rough though, because we were young, we just trusted and we did our thing. But at the end of the day, I love everybody and nothing against them, but at a certain point we did get taken advantage of, financially and time-wise. So it's like it was all lesson learned, because we did end up we made good contacts, we had good experiences that we just can't, you can't make up these experiences, when you're traveling. And if you've never really had a hora where it's like, a whole community and everybody's happy, it's like, you can't compare that experience with too many things, and then I guess I actually started to I had more interest. I think about 17 when I turned 17, I had more interest in getting into professional fighting, and that's when I literally actually had my first MMA fight at the age 17, doing straight capoeira right out the gate, and it just sort of progressed there to the point where I started incorporating a few other things and just, taking fights when I could. And then eventually I just decided to just box for, money for the money, basically, because when I was doing MMA, it wasn't as big. It was like around the dead era, just after, Ken Shamrock and all these Gracie. It was sort of dead after them. So the money wasn't there. There was no such thing as an amateur career. You're straight pro out the gate. And then started boxing and getting really good. I started doing a lot of fights. Got some good recognition, but then, I just got into it with my trainers and manager about something that was really silly, because I was going through like so much. I was like going through a lot. Like a lot of us, we go through a lot, but my trainers didn't understand. It was just like they expected so much of me, but at the same time, I was training, hard 5 days a week. Plus, I was running, and then I was not getting much sleep. So I was like, because I was working a full-time job, plus running both parents around because neither one had a car. It was like just so much going on.
Excuse me, I just want to say bye, bitches.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
But
needless to say, I want to throwing that off. Needless to say,
I'm sorry. One thing we can do is you can change. You make another meeting and send everybody the link to another meeting. Everybody that's in here now, and then you can everybody. I don't know how we would do that, but everybody.
Well, what we're gonna do actually with this, because a couple of other individuals that haven't shown their actual faces, I would love for them to do that and actually give an intro so we can actually know that there's somebody here and there's not somebody just spamming. So we can filter it out right now. So not even having to, reinvent the wheel. So, but go ahead, Terry.
All right. Yeah. So things went pretty much downhill before I actually had my first professional boxing fight. So I was just working, and I felt like I needed to do something else, with all this athletic skill that I still had and time spent doing martial arts. So I remember just seeing like The Rock on TV one time, if you smell, and he's doing this, and I was like, you know what, I could do that, So I actually went and found a place where you can learn to do professional wrestling, and I took a class, and I was like, it was a 12-week class, the House of Truth in Michigan. And after I finished the class, I just started going around doing wrestling shows, but I think what really propelled me, of course, the creator, he always, he's responsible for everything, but he really did. I think that the capoeira that I had, because everybody's always looking for a gimmick, I guess you should say that. I didn't have to have a gimmick, simply because I had capoeira, and it's like nobody was doing what I was doing. So like to this very day, out of all of professional wrestling history, it's like I'm still the most unique wrestler ever, because I was the only person that actually, you know, brought something exotic to the company, to the world of professional wrestling, and adapted it to where I could do professional matches for TV, house shows, and, you know, portray this beautiful dance, martial arts style. Even though when I retired about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, you know, as for my release, and I've seen people try to do some moves from me. You know, they try, but at the same time, they weren't, you know, trained in capoeira, so they really don't have it. You know, but at the same time, that was a blessing that, you know, I was able to train with all these awesome guys in Detroit. You know, train out in California, because even now, I've been doing some thinking, and I think actually I am going to go back to professional wrestling just for a little bit now. But at the same time, capoeira is still, you know, I guess you could say, if it's a gimmick, it's a gimmick, you know, and it brings it, like, you know, I think I had like we had a local show. I had Gary. Who was that? Who was like some of the I remember we came to the show. It was awesome. Who was all there, Gary? You know.
Sorry, I was on mute. It was me, Nego Bom, right? And Largatisha, I think.
Yep.
That was us. I still have that, by the way. I still have
it. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I need to, okay. I definitely have to check that out. But you know, it wasn't presented the way I wanted it to be presented. You know, because originally it was like, I wasn't sure what was going down, who was going to be able to make it and everything. And it was kind of iffy because I needed to put some names down and everything. But I kind of wanted them to let you guys come out before me and just showcase all your skills in the ring. And then I'll do my entrance. But it was like, you know, they kind of, it could have been bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys could have, like, you know, made it so much more, but they sort of played it down. But anyway, I mean, it's a beautiful art. You know, it's beautiful. It's like so many styles. And that's the thing. Oh, goodness. It's so many styles of capoeira. You know, it's just constantly evolving, you know. The only thing I didn't like about it was, you know, just the mentality of some people, you know, because a lot of us, we just want to have fun. Like, and that's kind of also why I left it too. I left a lot of traditional martial arts, start fighting just like with capoeira, because you have a lot of attitudes, a lot of, you know, like people got something to prove and you really don't have anything to prove. Some of us are just there to have fun, you know, but next thing you know, you're getting into a fight, and, you know, sometimes it could be a misunderstanding, but it's just one of those things. Like, I don't want to deal with it. You know, I'm like, some people just, they have chips on their shoulder, and or they get cocky. And really, like, we're just having fun. It's a dance. We're totally having fun. It's like, if you want to fight, go box or kickbox or something like that. But you kind of can't get away with it, you know, in martial arts, and even in fighting, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember there's been plenty of times I'd be in the gym, and then you got people, tough guys coming off the street, you know, or from other gyms, and, you know, and they've got that attitude, but that's different. You know, I would say, okay, well, I'll give me 2 rounds with the guy, you know, I'll break him in that way. But when it comes to capoeira, it's like, you know, let's have fun, baby. Let's express ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this beauty that we've been working on, let's put yours with mine. Like, that's the way it was supposed to be, but, you know, it's not always that way. So I don't want to talk too much. I guess just the whole, what I can think of, but yeah, I'm gonna give the mic back to you guys.
Hey,
man, love you guys, for real.
Hey, love you too, brother. You expressed it, man. You expressed it how it needed to be expressed. And I had to even go on that, like, segue on that as well, is that what most of us are probably going to have a mutual agreement on is, you know, one big thing. We all have gotten older, and you know, not just in life, but in capoeira. Oh yeah, I see. Barry, he did it. Look, I'm gonna up you one, Barry. I was just saying, I got a solar panel going on there, so I'm getting my vitamin C in.
Streamlining.
So there we
Aerodynamic.
go.
What's up, Barrett? I didn't even know that was you. What's up, brother?
Respect, my brothers. Respect. I'm so happy that you guys are finding me. I don't want to interrupt. Guys, let it flow. Let it go.
Oh yeah. Oh, we want you to talk next. It's actually it's funny because I actually have only heard of, like, Barrett as, like, I kept thinking, I was like, this dude is like a legendary fighter, like, somewhere. I'm like, I've heard about him from Terry. I've heard about this guy. I'm like his kicks and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, I've never seen this guy. Does he exist? It was like, what was it? Another, I think like a last year or something like that. I was going through like Instagram and I came across, I was like, is this the guy named Barrett that he kept talking about? The Astro? I was like, is this Barrett? He's like, yeah, that's Barrett. I'm like, I've got to find this guy. Because, you know, I gotta just find out about it. So,
All
yeah,
right.
but please feel free. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. I started doing martial arts. Let's see, my first exposure. Check this out. I wrote all this down. Can you guys hear me? Is that better?
It was hard to hear you for a second.
Okay.
there.
Sorry about that, brother. Yeah, my exposure was watching the Green Hornet and Batman television show. See, around this time, I was about, what I write down here. Let's get it right. Da, da, da. Well, I was born in 1959, so that tell you how old I was. I was a little fella. All right, then after that, I think I saw Bruce Lee and Marlowe, you know, when he jumped out the window. And I said, you know, this is outstanding. And so after I saw all that stuff, I started learning Taekwondo at the Unity Baptist Church in Detroit, Ontario. Now, after I did that, there was a guy teaching Wing Chun on 7 Mile named Omar Jante. He was a student of either Francis Fong or I think it was one of Francis Fong.
Yo, that's my dad.
Real. My
I
man.
was the little 4-year-old in the corner.
I remember,
Kicking
man,
folks.
you little fella with your mom and your dad over there, because I used to
Yeah.
go over there and pick them up sometime. They'll pick them up
Oh
there to
my
open up the
God.
school. See,
That's hilarious.
the history. Ricky.
Yo, I didn't know it was connected like that, bro.
Bro,
What?
we are all 360 degrees of each other, and we all should
Yo.
realize that. We keep the respect, and the respect will grow, and we all continue to grow. So after I learned the Wing Chun, I also was studying the Hung Gar or Hung Fist and Fujao Pai in New York with Tak Wah Ing. Tak Wah Ing and Fong Wing Lam was in Ohio teaching Hung Gar. But let's gravitate up towards the capoeira subject. Prior to doing that, I had Kalinde was the genius who brought so many artists to Detroit. And I met Dennis, who was my first true introduction to capoeira. And the first movie I ever saw that had capoeira in it was probably Rooftops, where they had a real, there wasn't that much capoeira. They were like in the kitchen and they were trying to say there was a dance fight. All right. And then after that, I think it was a couple other, the one that really set it off was Only the Strong. That one keyed me off. Now, prior to meeting Marcelo, they had a group of, it was a company called Panther Productions. If you had read Black Belt Magazine, Karate Illustrated, and the other mags at the time, Action Black Belt, all these different books, they advertised these different VHS tapes. And before that, it was a company in Hawaii called McLisa Enterprises. And there you could pick up any Chinese Kung Fu reel-to-reel movie. Not a movie, but an actual instructional, silent, but you had to have an old camera, old double reel deal to watch them on your wall. And that way you could basically learn forms and all that other stuff. Because at that time, the Chinese really weren't opening their hands to pass the knowledge on. You basically sat in a horse stance for weeks and months, punching the air, smacking sandbags, putting your fingers in all this stuff. Then if you stuck it out for like 5-6 months, standing in the horse stance, then they finally taught you something. Now, when you went to Ahati or Kalindi's place, they were doing African martial arts, and that's something I had never heard of. But they did introduce the weapons, bladed, empty hand, and whatnot. He brought in a whole lot of different instructors. My first introduction was with Dennis. Dennis gave a demo, but I never had a chance to formally train with him. So I submitted countless letters to Marcelo in California. Now, this time period here was around 1996, okay? Because I started off in the garage. Here's a big picture of some of the old garage training. I don't know if you can see that. That's one right there. And notice this bearing ball was made with a Happy Meal box, all right? That was back in the day because we didn't have one, all right? And this was the old garage gym back in Detroit. I forgot the glare out of there. And this is some of the things we did. And then we finally had a chance to get a real bearing ball. And we also trained at Bill Al on Saturday mornings. All right, here's the training on Saturday mornings in Bill Al. All right, and we even attempted to do makulele back in the day. All right, and here's some pictures of us trying to do some agility training. All right, inverted au. All right, trying to hold your balance. So we had a pretty good time. We always were innovating. We used pool noodles for agility, and we used we call it slap pads to try to get your coordination together. So we had a great time. When I made it to the YMCA on 7 and Lasser, we say Lasher, you know, in Detroit, the D, we call it different things, right? We got that gig because my brother-in-law was teaching Kung Sudo at the Y. He says, Barrett, I'm about to give that gig up. Maybe you guys want to step in there. And there's a spot. So I went to the Y and asked if we could teach capoeira there. And they said, sure. And it just took off. And we didn't have any knowledge of the music. So we had a cassette tape and my big boom box. We would lay that down and just kept playing the same songs over and over. Or I would probably find some Afro-Brazilian beats just to get a tone or rhythm. Because basically all we were doing was a jinga, a cocarinha, then a hastera, or well, everybody here's capoeirista, so I don't have to change the names and stuff like that. So we basically did a jinga, engaged with each other, going up and down the floor, because my background was a kung fu and karate background. So from there, my reference points was that. All right. And it all took off the second time when we brought Marcelo up, and he showed us how to do a holda, how to do a warm up, how to engage with each other. And so with that, I had a blast with it. And I left, I guess, because my interest had to move, because I'm a constant person, constantly trying to learn other things. So I went from there, went to Muay Thai, Muay Chaya, Kerbing Kerbong, and Indonesian Penjak Silat. So that's where I'm at now. Silat, I make my own weapons. So sometime in the future, you guys want some practice weapons, let me know. I'll give you some blanks. You can hook them yourself or have me make them for you. And then I went to the herbology part where there's pain medicine for your joints. I make my own pain oil. And the pain oil is, you know, I'm an old OG now. So the body's starting to squeak. So with that, that's my background, and I'm going to hold the floor, but let you guys run with it. All right. Peace and respect. There you go.
Thank you, Barrett. I had
anytime.
I didn't know that full much of a background, but it's funny how we all are in those circles of, you know, generally everything and anything. You know, as you're like training here, and then like, hey, well, I was the kid in the corner and all this. We all have this circle that's just funny. I always sit back and look at it like it's just hilarious, where, you know, we can, any other time somebody could say, oh, you know, well, I'm from Detroit or I'm from Michigan, but it's actually really, it's way smaller than you would think. But what the great thing is about it is that everybody that has been in this journey, mostly capoeira, or just something positive, we've actually come across each other. And it doesn't always have to be capoeira. It could be different arts, different modalities, just walking up the street, just something, but something resonated. It resonated with all of us to just bring us like together, or just have us meet each other. So great thing. So.
Well, I'll tell you, I was glad to be up. The muse that motivated so many guys to go in many different directions. They went to California, expanded. Gary went to Brazil with the other guys, they expanded. And it's just from the ideal, because at first I was going to teach Sepak Takraw, the Vietnamese like footy volley game. So luckily, you got it. So there you go. And thank you guys once again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated. Again, this is, I'm very excited, happy about this, how everything's going. You know what I'll do, just to get it so we can move on with everything a little bit smoother. I'll name off a couple of individuals, and if you can unmute yourself also possibly like, you know, show your video and show your face or anything, that would be great. Just to let you know as well too, we are keeping it as far as we've had, you know, just a little bit of some families in here, just in case we come across again, we'll be removing individuals, you know, because we're here just making sure that we're here for a positive reason. We're not here for judgment, degradation, anything like that, nothing negative. So just to let you know, yeah, and if this is something, yeah, I actually, it's very funny. I actually just saw one person drop off. So needless to say, who can you say what that person is? So basically, when you put a disclaimer out there, it's a great thing. So, all right. So let's see. Who have we not come across as of yet? Let's see. I'll stay on this one. I see one person using Judy's iPad. I see a face, but I don't hear.
It says Judy's iPad.
Yes. So Judy's iPad, if you could introduce yourself, you know, now, you know, we'll move on and we'll just have to, you know,
I got something for you if you want.
Go
Ready
ahead.
for it?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
this is the first book I ever read that motivated me to do everything. I think everybody has this one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then after that, just kicking some good knowledge with this one here, Ring of Liberation.
Oh man, that
Classic.
was hard to find.
Yeah, everybody had this one.
Oh, well, little capoeira book, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the Bachizado, I was honored to be given this one.
Oh, you know what?
Yes. There you go. Oh, she's there. Stand by.
Oh, hey.
It's all you, my sister.
Hi, Trovada knows me, and Melandro, Versace. I got started in capoeira after doing Korean martial arts and, you know, Philippine stick fighting and things like that. And played with Trovada and the group in Detroit for quite a while. Then I got involved in Capoeira Angola, and I ended up moving to Bahia and studying with Mr. Cabela in Serra Grande. He's a alumno of Mr. Joe Grande. And I still feel like I'm part of the family, but I haven't been training in a while. So I had hoped to just kind of reconnect with everybody. I haven't seen your faces in so long, and I miss y'all, and muito saudade de vocês. So I'm just here, just touching base. Happy to be here. Thanks for putting the notice out there, Trovy. I appreciate it. So, talk to you guys.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's nice to see you. You and I are some of the OGs here. Where you can just keep playing, you just keep playing, even if you're just playing music and having
Got that right.
it's still a good thing.
Yeah.
Good for your heart, you know. And I think that's the thing about capoeira for me, is that it created a family for me that I didn't have. And so that I know that no matter really where I go in the world, I have family. And that's one of the only reasons I still stay on Facebook, is so that I still have some kind of connection with family. So, yeah, I'm just going to sit back and listen to everybody else's stories too, because it's good to see everything. I miss you.
I remember a quick story that my guru told me in Silat. He said that in order for a seed to grow, the seed has to get on the ground and get dirty. And that's my first lesson in capoeira. You know, as you start on the ground, you work your way up. So the seed gets dirty, gets buried, and then it comes back. So respect my sister, everybody.
Thank you.
Roll with it.
It's really good to hear your story too. I know a few people's stories here, but I like to hear everybody's story. That's a good thing. Take care of me.
Let's see, we're gonna go next. Let's go to William Brown Jr., also known as, I will let him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I was finally able to get on. I'm William Brown Jr. Initially known as Carvon at one point. Currently now I'm Nego Bom from Detroit. Of course, I started training with Barrett and Trovada, Melandro, and all those guys. And my introduction to capoeira was similar, the Panther production videos, coming from other martial arts, Asian base, and you see, start seeing something that's like, wait a minute, look like they dancing, but no, you just tried to kick my man. Like, what's going on? What's this? And you just feel like an instant connection. And years ago, then fast forward, as happened, I don't even know how I came across it, but I was researching and I happened to come across a capoeira class, the YMCA. I'm like, this can't be right. And I called, Barrett answered the phone and, his jovial voice, yeah, come on down. Yeah, it just come on, he just woke me like he knew me forever. And, I showed up to one class, and, the rest has been history, over the years, just met so many people, Pequenininho, Langy, Melandro, Versace, all these people, he move away, you may not talk to him for like years, and then you see him, and it's been like no time had passed. Hey, what's going on? How you been? Good to see you. Catching up with old stories, catching up with new stories. And I do remember to Darius with that wrestling event. Yeah, that was first ever. It was a lot of fun. I can say, oh, I'm a wrestler now. But yeah, that event was really fun. But capoeira for me, it always have a special place. We'll move on to other martial arts, but always, keep that capoeira, in my heart, in my base. Talk to Trove on almost a regular basis. We haven't played capoeira probably in a while, but we talking about other things. We do going our own movie reviews. What you think about this? And we saying, I'm not sure like everybody see movies and hey, that person did a Melu in there. He did a Bing Chi. Oh no, that don't make sense. You shouldn't have did that kick right there. But it's been a lot of fun, and like I say, those connections that I made with capoeira, over the years, it's definitely an experience that I wouldn't change. So good, really good to see everybody. Yeah, and people I don't know is family. That's the thing, capoeira, you family, like instantly. Whether no matter what style you train or how long you train, or if you train now or haven't trained forever, you always family, and you always welcome. And like I say, that unity is always going to be there. So thank you, everybody.
It's all good. I got a blast for you, Gary. Look at this one. Say, who's that? That's
Wow.
that's an old school, buddy.
Wow.
Old school. I got a ton laying on the table. You'll be surprised what's over here.
But it's it's all positive. I mean, we
Looking young.
Yeah, still young, right? But it's positive, and Pequenininho and I wanted to do this again. I know we said it, but I want to reiterate because it's a lot about history of capoeira in this area that not a lot of people know, or for instance, they've never met Camarada, as we used to call him, Barrett, and or some other people that are important. I mean, I want to give an intro to somebody, but I want to do it in a it's a special intro to me because I met this man through his mom. I met this man through his mom. She was a wonderful, wonderful person, like a second mom to me and all of us who were around at the time. Not many people know this. I was teaching at the YWCA in Redford, and we were going through some things. People around that time know what we were going through with them. It was it's very shady stuff was happening on their end. I had met Michelle. I can't remember. I think it was at a meeting at the YMCA. I can't remember. And she asked me, she's like, have you ever thought about teaching in Royal Oak? I'm like, no, I haven't. And so we began to talk. And if it was not for her, I wouldn't have continued teaching capoeira. I was going to be like, I'm done. This Redford stuff is, it was just a lot of stuff going on that was shady that I don't want to get into, but it had nothing to do with us, but we were affected with some very shady stuff going on at that YMCA, like some criminal shady stuff. That's all I'm going to say. And, and prior to that, I had met Mr. Versace in the basement of the YMCA with the peanut butter on the floor. And he came to our class and we played, and it was like this instant camaraderie. He's from Detroit too. We were like, man, don't I know you from somewhere? And then we, played. So it's been love and camaraderie ever since. But I want to definitely put in the historical record Michelle Huff, because without Michelle Huff, you guys don't know all those bachizados that we had out there. That was her championing for us at the Royal Oak YMCA, because they did not want to do that for us like that. But she championed for us. And one of the reasons that, I wanted to do something like this is this names that people who are newer or who weren't around may not know, they never played capoeira, but to me, they were capoeira. And Versatio's mom will always remain in my heart in a very, 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 very special place. And with that intro, I want my brother, Mr. Versace, to come on and drop some knowledge.
I got to clap.
Oh, man. Yo, he's trying to get me to be in tears before I can even say something. I really appreciate that. She mothering was her thing. She wanted to take care of everybody, and she was good at it. So because of her, I had so many, I had my little brother Ahmed, but I had so many other siblings because of just the amazing woman that my mother was and still is. But it's also dope to find out that Barrett was my father's student in Wing Chun. So it's like so much full circle to see everyone here and to start hearing these stories of our amazing city that is like, what other city in the United States has produced like 6 masters of capoeira, 6 black masters of capoeira? What other city? Period. Doesn't even matter what color. What other city has produced 6 masters of capoeira? What other city? So, I was blessed enough to go out to university in California. I went to Pomona College in Claremont, and my first year, Edna, who was at that time one of the first woman mastery of a large capoeira group. She was with Grupo Senzala. Later on, moved on with Mestre Camisa into Grupo Abada. But she came out for the World Shotokan Karate Championship in LA at UCLA. But she spent a couple of months there doing Afro-Brazilian dance demos and capoeira demos. And my best friend Mance and I went to the first demo, and we were floored. What we saw answered so many questions about how to eliminate the lag between an escape and a counterattack. And just so much, the fighting logic made so much sense. And yet it was also so African. And, like a lot of folks have said, Barrett knows who I was raised by. Both of my parents are martial artists. So there was never a question as to whether or not I would do martial arts, but I was raised doing Chinese martial arts. And so, but in a very African family. So to find an African martial art, there was just no question. I fell in love with it immediately. And we followed Edna around the LA area, taking all of her classes, all of her workshops, went to her tournament. And then when she left, there were about 30 of us who had started training capoeira with her. This is again 91 into 92. And we were just left like, we need that hit. Where am I going to get my next fix? And somebody found out about Mestre Amen, the one who did the Only the Strong movie. And so we pooled our money together. We reached out to Mestre, and he was like, yo, I'll come all the way out there. And to let you know, Mestre was teaching in Santa Monica, right on the coast. And we were in Claremont, which is 35 miles east of Los Angeles. So he was, driving an hour, sometimes 2 hours to come to us and teach. And we would every week we would train with him, and then during the week we would ambush each other in the hallways and in the dorms, and have little rodas and practice sessions out on the lawns, and we just kept it up. And I've remained with Mestre Amen since then. He's one of those mestres, very unique. He's a master of Afro-Brazilian dance and of drumming. He's an Ogun in Candomblé. And he's also one of those folks who, you don't need to question, because he'll show it to you in the roda. So he's never really had anything to prove. And he's also never been that kind of possessive, you can only train here, you can only do this, only do that. He's always been about, I don't know everything, so go and train with Mestre Jean Grande, go and train here, go and train there. If there's a workshop somewhere else, go there and learn that full spectrum. And through that, I've gained a lot of other mentors and teachers. And Trovada has been one of them. Whenever I would go back to Detroit, I would be there at the YMCA taking Trovi's classes, and you just beautiful way of continuing to be part of that Detroit capoeira family. And I guess it's been about 2 years now. We were supposed to have it a year earlier, but the pandemic hit, and so we had to postpone it. And then we had the formatura, wherein I became recognized as Mestre, which again it's never been an easy thing to be promoted within Capoeira Batuque, within Mestre Amen's group. So those of us who have, be it my cousin Mia Velia or my brother Mestre Muito Tempo, folks put in a lot of work, and it's a beautiful tradition to be part of. We consider that capoeira is 100% dance, and it's 100% martial art. If you're not feeling the music, if you're not moving expressively and freely, then you're not doing something right. Yet, if all those expressive free movements are not effective, then you're also not doing something right. And that's the standpoint we come from. And I believe that just speaks to the necessities of what kept capoeira and the people who performed it and who practiced it alive for centuries, outside of the history of all the martial arts and traditions that became capoeira in Africa, be it from Angola and the Congo region, or the arts that came from Senegal, Senegambia, Nigeria. You can see all of those pieces. And it's funny because you hear, folks say, oh, you'll never find something just like capoeira in Africa. So, capoeira is not African. But if you look at all the places where Africans were brought to Brazil from Africa, you'll find all of the components. You'll find the stand-up grappling in Senegambia. There's no grappling on the ground there because it's a battlefield martial art. And once you're on the ground, that's that. So we're not trying to be on the ground with a whole army of other folks around you. You have all the elbows and all the headbutts, the hand strikes in Dambe from Nigeria, and you'll have all the kicks, the ground movements, the inversions in Angola and in the Congo, as well as a lot of the spiritual framework is found deeply within Angola and Congolese spirituality. So it just connects us to so much of Africa. And in that way, I mean, just as Brazil may be considered to be Little Africa for South America, Detroit, we Chocolate City, we Black Bottom. So it's just part of who we are. And it doesn't mean that folks who aren't apparently African, folks who are not as melanated, I mean, that's where humanity comes from. And that's why no matter who you are, that drum sings to you. The music that we sing, it calls to you. You're all part of this family. And I'm just so happy to see some folks I haven't seen in years on this call, and to be sitting next to my brother right here while we're having this call, it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for putting this together, Trovy, Barrett. Man, I'm just super humbled and appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. I mean, yeah, I just, yeah. So I want to go, if you don't mind, a little further. So, you know, once Barrett moved on, I started to give classes at various locations. Not at the same time, but like something would happen here, we'd have to move, and something would happen here, and contramestrepequenininho, and to Darius, you got to tell me how to pronounce your name.
Yeah.
And Ahav, we would, like, people always, in my opinion, people always thought that we were like enemies, which I always found to be funny. When it's like, dude, we're like friends. Just because we weren't in the same group, people are like, oh, they're enemies. And I remember, this is part of history. I remember, you know, a lot of times people now get together and have these big, huge huddles. We had one at the YMCA. You guys remember that? It was at the time, it was huge because I remember it being like 30 people, which is not huge, but for us at the time, it was like huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, we played Manyozu, Kiabu, Shogranji, Baiano, other people I'm forgetting that have come through and trained that may not train anymore. I just remember that, you know, I had a picture from it, but I can't find it. But I do remember stumbling across a picture. I just can't find it now. And it was things that we were doing that are being done now, but without the fanfare and without financial support. We were doing these things. We were, as Barrett said, we would have one tape. We would play that tape over and over and over, trying to get that music right, trying to get that sound, wearing out the tape popping out the thing. We got to string it back in there, splice the tape. You know, all of us were doing that. We wanted it. And I remember sometimes, you know, Beningela and Shango will go to Chicago and come back. It's like, oh man, they got capoeira in Chicago. And we're like, oh man, we got to go to Chicago. And you know, yeah, look at all those photos. It was a time of I don't want to be too sentimental, but it was a good time. And it sparked a lot of what's happening here now, because everybody kind of went their own way and found their own path, which I think is another thing that needs to be talked about. I mean, one of my first students was, where is he at? Lagatisha. Lagatisha went and started a club at Grand Valley. And Lanso, I thought Lanso actually was going to join. I don't know if he got busy or anything. But Lanso, I remember when Lanso, Barrett, you were still teaching. Lanso went to Grand Valley because he was going to college. He ended up starting a club at Grand Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And so this
lightning in the bottle.
Yeah, how certain things started to branch out. And Pequenininho, Ahav, you guys were with Os Malandros Toro, you guys were training out Kibulan Village. I remember out Kibulan Village. I remember we went there a few times. And it's just so, and it was like capoeira was everywhere, but at the same time it was nowhere, if you know what I mean. It's like everywhere. We didn't have the publicity
exposure
or the internet.
Yeah.
You know, internet was fledgling back then. It's like you wait 20 minutes for dial-up. So it's not like
AOL.com.
Yeah, we were
Yahoo and Lycos.
Yeah. And so, you know, it was very important. We, you know, Malandro was just leaving, like, for California, and, you know, we would talk, and he would send me back some training. So with Beningela and Shango, and we were in tune with each other. And as someone stated earlier, you might not hear from somebody for 6 months, then you hear from them, and it's like you left off right where you were that 6 months ago, and it was a smaller community, and it was in my opinion, it was a closer knit community, because what we all, I think, had in common was that thirst for capoeira. Like I remember, Shango, you're gonna remember this. We used to go to the arcade on Van Dyke and 13 Mile, and we would just like play capoeira, like just we in the arcade, we just start playing capoeira. Or we would walk through the mall with a berimbau.
Oh my God!
Remember
the
that?
Jean Pastel?
Yes.
The Jean Pastel used to give us free guaraná if we played capoeira outside of it.
Yes.
Oh, that was I remember that, and I got the hat.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that? So I mean, it's a lot of things that we used to do, and you know, one of our friends from California he would always say, well, you guys play at the drop of a dime. So we start carrying a dime and start flicking it around, and when it hit the ground, we would start playing. Like, it was just different things, you know, that happened, and that everybody here has been a part of. And you know, Sean, go on, hear from you, man. I'll never hear from you. So to me, and this is just my opinion. So again, you know, this is me speaking.
Newlywed Shango.
When Shango first started, I could not stand him. I couldn't, because it was so hard for me to get all these movements. Like, capoeira is the physically hardest thing I've ever done. And it was so hard for me to do these movements. And then I look over and Shango's like, just like doing them. Like, I'm like, man, I hate that guy. And so, you know, we developed our little joke that we say, you know, I hate you, man, I hate you. But as we said earlier, it's all love. But I want Mr. Shango to speak, because he to me has a unique take, because he's capoeira has literally, and Melandra, I would like you to speak after that, but capoeira literally is taking you guys around the world.
So yeah, like you said, yeah, good to see you, camarada. Always got to respect your roots. And it's funny that they're talking about I was talented. I was inspired by just a room full of martial artists that were in front of me. People did kickboxing. People did, what was it? Praying mantis kung fu. Like, I'm waiting to see Mr. Gregory, Cohen Gregory, on here. I started when I was 16, and everybody else was a little older than me, and they were already martial artists. Only thing I did was football and chess. So it's funny that I thought about it a completely different way, that I was trying to catch up with everybody that was in class. But yeah, as Trovoada said, yeah, I moved to California, and I now run my own school. And yes, I've traveled around the world with capoeira. It's been awesome, great. And I tell people, where you from? Across the world. I'm from Detroit. Where is that? Michigan. What's that? It's the state that looked like a glove. You know, you've never heard of Michigan? Got a lot of snow? No. You trained in the snow? Oh, kinda. And it's just cool, like the people starting to get to know that Detroit has a lot of roots in capoeira. Like Trovoada said, we have more mestres coming out of Detroit than I can't think of another state in the United States that has more mestres that are American, that stuck with capoeira and had the kind of passion was. Being as small as we were, not being like a force in capoeira to start with. It was like scarce, but like Trovoada said, everywhere. It was like Underground Railroad stuff, you know. Every time you turn a corner, it's one or two capoeiristas, but not really any big groups. But yeah, it's been a dream come true. Like just remembering the old times, getting down to the YMCA and having to warm up for a whole hour because it was so cold. You know, trying to do Kokurien when I started, it's like, no, you know, Barrett, it's okay. Just you stay right there. Hold that right there. And I remember getting everybody in trouble in class. And everybody had to get up against the wall to do handstands because I'm talking too much in class. Or everybody's doing push-ups and I got to count them. And it taught me a lot of discipline being in capoeira. And it's a blast. Just like, I remember Melandra came in. Came in like a wrecking ball, period. You know, it was crazy. We had a little kumite up in the locker room when I first started with, let me see, Barrett, Trovoada, Berinjela, and I look up and everybody had start like testing their martial arts and fighting, like literally, no gloves or anything, fighting. And because I would be making so much noise and almost get everybody caught, I remember one time they stuffed me in the locker. It was like, be quiet, you're gonna get us caught. So I got some great times growing up, and it's changed. It's not like that anymore, right? And it's way before internet. We just got a bunch of stories, and I still got a couple of capoeira cassette tapes and my VHS capoeira tapes. And pretty soon, I'm gonna ask for a lot of people's permission before I put a couple of VHS out there on YouTube from 97, 98, 99. But yes, it's been a crazy ride, you know, being from just a small town, being in the park trying to play berimbau and getting stopped by the cops, and these guys asking you, how far does your bow and arrow shoot? And I'm like, well, it's an instrument, and the cops, you had to put it away, you know. To moving to California and walking into McDonald's and walking into restaurants and getting free food because you do capoeira. And I was like, what? People actually like it out here? That's crazy, right? So it's been a cool journey. I'm on Malandro to take over, you know, Black Panther over there. But thank you, Trovada. It's been a blast.
Man, I remember in my Ford Taurus driving to the YMCA playing the soundtrack from Only the Strong to class and then from class. Man, it's so crazy because how many people just did it for the love, and how many people just sought out, really how they like sought out knowledge. Like right now, there's so much information at people's fingertips, YouTube, Google, you know, all that, right? Even I was talking to somebody the other day, like even back in the early 2000s, in order to talk to somebody from Brazil, you had to get a special phone card, you know, and try to figure out, okay, what time difference. And now you can just WhatsApp whomever and then get the information that you need. But to have that challenge, but then not even think about it. And we just sought after knowledge. Shango, Bidijela, Linsu, Trove, like all you guys would go to Chicago. Shango, I remember you teaching me, I bugged you on a plane. I forgot where we were flying to, and you wrote so many friggin' songs down for me. And I think I learned.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't know how you put up with me, but I would ask for like so many songs. But yeah, it's been a journey. Fortunately, I've had a chance to, you know, travel with, you know, my brother Shango. Once I moved out to California, and you know, we were doing basically a Manjinga tour, you know, to Rochester, to Buffalo, back to Detroit. And I felt like I wanted to also at a certain time and point to give back. So, you know, when I started to train with Messi Nanel, instinctively I, you know, set it up so that he could also visit, you know, Detroit. And then that's when Professor Lang came down from Tucson. I was gonna say Tucson. I just came from Tucson. Sorry, from Toronto. I have to say it like I'm from Canada, from Toronto. And that's why I, you know, first met her. And this is also like right when I had tore my Achilles. So, man, it's just crazy to kind of, when you look over your shoulder and like really see how far you've come, it's like, wow, it's really crazy how it seems like time passes so fast, and now, you know, we're here, and to, you know, see everyone's faces and to exchange these old school stories and to think back and like, yeah, man, that's why I tell some of my students, like, look, if I can get good at capoeira, man, like if you see the old school 97 videos with like my cigarette arms and flapping down here and, you know, like there's hope for a lot of people, you know? And I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had to travel, because they've given me so many great experiences and made connections with different folks. And to be honest, I enjoy capoeira as a whole, but I always kind of was really curious about I'm not saying the martial art, but just the way I want to word it is the self-defense aspect. Because from what I would read with the little capoeira book from Nestor, it's like that the art was very empowering to Africans and their descendants, you know, the history of Master Bean, but him actually going into the ring and being undefeated, you know, so, but with my curiosity, not really myself having the capacity to understand how to use it in that way. And also a lot of people around me didn't necessarily have the capacity to understand, and they would just, oh, capoeira is not effective. Even people training, oh, capoeira is not effective in needing to train other things. It's like, okay, that's fine for someone feeling that way. But I'm grateful that I stayed with seeking that knowledge and had a chance to go to Brazil, train capoeira as a self-defense from the source, from Master Bean's lineage. And it's like, okay, yeah, it is. Like I can see, and then also getting jumped in the forest. And it really, to you know, share some vulnerability with everyone, that really was a huge milestone for me as far as like getting over the fear, because like I was always brought up, you know, single parent household, my mom, very loving, very passive, you know, not peaceful. So it was always, if somebody messed with you, go get somebody bigger. And at a certain point, it was like, well, I'm not learning how to stand up for myself. So coming into capoeira, it was like I was also lightweight, trying to figure out how can I use this art form to kind of like stand up for myself. So again, seeking that knowledge and led me to Brazil, lived in Brazil for a year, and then had a chance to do the emboscada or the specialized training and learning capoeira as a self-defense and feeling like, okay, here are tools to not only empower me, but also to empower other people. So I was able to, you know, do workshops. We're using capoeira resources as a self-defense, you know, during kind of the height of the Asian hate, anti-Asian hate, you know, movement, and doing teaching classes for the AAPI community on like, here are the capoeira resources that I have to help you get out of these situations, and really understanding the art form as the element of militia. So now with me being, in, thank you. And now with me being in Atlanta, it's like I have an opportunity to not only create fight choreography for film, but do it in a way that is empowering to people who look like us. It's empowering to show that this was an art form that people use to free themselves, to liberate themselves, and also give back to the culture. So that's what's in the works now. Be on the lookout. And again, like I wouldn't be here with many of the people that are in this Zoom room right now through their constant support through the ups and downs, because I started capoeira at a very young age, 16. Yeah, 16. And there was a lot of growing up that I've done over the years. So I'm grateful to continue to have these people. Trovada especially has been there from, you know, from the very beginning. And to know that if he can continue doing it through all of his own trials and tribulations, and being with this teacher, and this teacher not necessarily being present to even give him guidance, but him just sticking with it, then I definitely can do it, you know? So I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful that we're here now, being able to see everyone's faces. I'm talking, I scroll up and I scroll down. See, Nego Bom. I love that shirt, man. You need to tell me where you got that shirt though. Largatisha, always with the smile. Lang, how you doing? Cool. So yeah, appreciate all you guys. Shango. 313 for life.
Yes, sir. 3, I gotta go teach class.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Love y'all. Okay. Tro, you the man.
Let's see, we got a second. Thank you for sharing, Melandro. It was greatly appreciated. I mean, every and anything, like again, like I said, everybody, this is a great thing we're doing. Everybody needs to, experience. I mean, not just experience, but hear these journeys. We have a lot of different journeys that have actually, intersected each other in nature stuff. But at the end of the day, this is what has come from it. And I see nothing but positive individuals in here, living their lives and living what their actual mission is, in life. Not just to say capoeira, but capoeira helping to influence and bring out the better and the most amazing and infinite of each person. So yeah. Let's see, get a couple of people. Some people have introduced themselves. Lagachisha, you mind?
Hello, everybody. Wow, so happy to see all these shining faces. It's been a long, long time. I want to give a massive shout out to everyone here. Everyone has been such a humongous inspiration. I want to give a special shout out to, I'm gonna call him Mr. Barrett because my brother and I, Agitado Kalangu, he's under Markus right now. We heard so many stories from you, and you are like the one, you are the beginning icon of Detroit of all the capoeira that we've heard from. So Trovoada and Nego Bom, Carvão at the time raved so much about you. So I've never met you in person, but I feel like I know you. Like it's, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your contributions in capoeira. And I also want to give a special shout out to Professora Langi. For all of y'all who don't know, she's one of the first, actually the first female North American capoeira professor, and well, in Canada, North America. So it's such an honor to have her here joining us and to learn about capoeira history in Detroit. And there's a ton of people. I mean, I want to say thank you to Pequenininho, Mr. Pequenininho, for hosting this. Of course, my Mestre Trovoada and Nego Bom and everybody here. We got Mestre Versace and Melandro. I'm kind of nervous now because it's just been a long time since I've seen everybody. So anyway, real quick, my brother and I, Kalango, we started capoeira. We know all about the 7 Mile stories because we started capoeira with our generation was inspired by the whole Tekken game, and that was, we were already interested in martial arts before. We trained this African version of Kung Fu in Detroit. It was called Chimbi Wushu. So I don't know, Versace, if y'all know any of that history behind that. But anyway, long story short, capoeira was really a transformational experience for us because we had no clue that, as lovers of martial arts in the Asian world, we had no clue that Black people had owned a martial art ourselves. So when we saw this video game broadcast this art, like, what, this cannot be real. So I just remember, I think my brother and I, we remember when we found out that this martial art was real by Black people that we grew up with. We looked up on a website and found Mr. Trovoada and Mr. Carvão's name, and we went to our first capoeira class at the 7 Mile location, and we saw Trovoada and Nego Bom playing, and everyone who knows Nego Bom, he smiles and laughs at anything. So I just remember his laugh, and there he goes right now. They were playing in the Hada. In around empty chairs. And my brother and I, our mouths were just dropped, and we signed up, and it was history from there. So our mom, speaking of capoeira moms, Trovoada's mom, Nego Bom's mom, Versace's mom, all the capoeira moms who were, we have Julia, sorry. All the capoeira moms really play such an integral part in promoting and the capoeira in Detroit. So I want to give a special shout out to all of our parents who are not here, because they really are a major force in the reason why we're here. So anyway, yeah, so I don't want to speak too long, but my capoeira history is in Capoeira Mandinga, and under Trovoada and Nego Bom, and my brother and I, we trained everything together. And then later on, they gave me the blessing and the permission to train. I was studying at Grand Valley State University. Shout out to Talento here. He was one of my first students when I first started out. And so we had a blast out there, and I don't want to go too much into it, but I don't train much anymore, but yeah, capoeira was my life. I met so many awesome people, transformational experiences. I was reborn through capoeira, because the person before that I am now, nope. No, capoeira, I think a lot of people can understand and relate to. If you're especially introverted and you're shy, capoeira, whoa, as soon as you step in the horta, that is, that is like your initiation to, the whole world of knowing yourself, self-expression, and relating to other people besides yourself. So anyway, don't get me started. Y'all shouldn't even call my name. I don't know why I did that, because I can talk about capoeira forever. But it's a pleasure to meet everyone. Must shout out to Mosquiteiro, and yeah, thank you so much to everybody here, Shango and everybody. Thank you very much. Bye.
See, there was method to my madness. That's why I had pulled you out, because I was like, I remember my first time like meeting you. It was I forgot what we were talking about. It went to like a actual, like almost a artistic poetic conversation. I'll put it that way. And we were talking about capoeira, and then it was like, you know what? It's like the harmony and the movement and things like this. And it was like how I actually hear your voice, like you word it. I was like, man, I feel like I'm tripping the light fantastic on like how he's explaining capoeira. And I'm like, this is cool, but but yeah, I had to make sure. I was like, yeah, I got it. So yeah, let's get a couple of more individuals. Actually, you know what? I would love to come over to Professor Langi if you're available. Yes.
Hi, I wasn't expecting to say anything, but it's really nice to be here to see all these amazing capoeiristas. Actually, I don't know, I feel like it's really special. So I didn't know what to expect, and I really feel honored to be here and hear all these stories. I think I've been hearing them mostly through Largi and Trove, and I don't know, it's just amazing to hear all these extra stories about Detroit that I wasn't aware of. So I feel like I'm in a listening mode. But I just want to say really quickly that it's funny because I'm much closer to the capoeiristas in Detroit or from Detroit than I am even to people in Toronto. And they've been a huge support on my capoeira journey. So I would never have expected that, but I feel like they were there and they still are there in these really difficult moments. It's quite a challenge up here in Toronto for me for lots of reasons I won't get into, but yeah, Trove, Largi, Nego Bom, Malandro, the teachers were really, really there for me. And so, yeah, just want to say that I don't think I can express it exactly, but it's been a huge, huge influence in my capoeira path. So, and I also really hope that I get to meet you, Pequenininho, because I know we've been, Trove talked a lot about you, and you had asked me about Mestre in Bahia, so I hope we get to connect soon. And anyways, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, I have to say thank you to you as well. I mean, just thank you for taking the time, the opportunity, to join the actual meeting today. Again, you get to meet so many other individuals and everything and build these connections. What one of my things that I really would love to see happen is, we all have different jobs, things that take our time. However, I would love it. I would love to see where we can actually, maybe in the future one day we all have a big order. We just all have a big order. Like it doesn't have to be Detroit, but mainly even the whole fact of like say for example, because let me rewind. There's a big thing that I always hear a lot, not just about capoeira, but there's one key word that I always hear, or key phrase that I always hear everybody say about capoeira. It's capoeira community. It's capoeira community. Let's take out capoeira. Let's go community. Community being individuals that may have a common goal, or they have a certain thing that they're looking to achieve, except everyone wants to work together. It's not where this person wants to be the goat on top of the mountain. And that's where we more have all ran into, where, the things that take that over is ego. Ego, or some also like sometimes self-esteem. I have to make myself out to be more than I actually am, but it also brings a big distraction and some negativity. However, I would love to see where, say, Professor Lane, we come and we help. For Nego Bom, we come and we help. For Barrett, you need somebody to just hold the bag, come and help. Anybody, we can, set up those times where we can actually come and help. It's times are, harder at times, but being able to, possibly make the efforts to just help each other grow. Because there is that stigma in the capoeira community that either one or two things. If my group isn't going out there, bringing like, todos briga, like everybody fight. Most individuals they don't trust or realize the power inside of capoeira. That's more of an Americanized mindset as well too. If I don't see blood, somebody's being thrown across the room or on the floor, it's not powerful. But when you can see all of these individuals here come together and actually sing songs, play bit and bow, bring all of the harmony inside of everything, that is something powerful that can never be denied. And I feel that, with all of us in our experiences, we have the capabilities to do it. It won't be easy, but at least we'll be doing it from the right way. You know what? I will, who do we have next? Cabela.
Hello. I wasn't expecting to speak either, but I'm really happy to be here and witness all of this. I joined in late. I had to get off work at 8 o'clock, so I didn't catch the beginning, but just the few stories that I was able to catch. It's super cool hearing stories that I haven't heard before, but I know I've heard a lot about all of you from Trove. My capoeira journey started with Trove when I was 11. I started at the YMCA in Royal Oak, and the rest was history. I mean, I remember as a kid, I started talking to my parents about like karate, because that's the probably most popular martial art. And I wanted to start something. And my dad has family in Brazil, and he said, hey, check this out. And that's when he showed me, there's 2 videos that I always go back to. The first one being, what was it? Capoeira Girl. It was a commercial, but it had capoeira in it. And that's what really hooked me. And then another video of Muay Thai versus capoeira. I think it's from a movie. But
yeah.
what I'm talking about, that made us search it up, capoeira in the area. We found Trove, and I know my parents talked to him and, were like, hey, is this appropriate? And there was no kids class at the time. So I joined right in with all the adults, and I loved it, and found a family in it. And it helped me through a lot of my angsty teenage years, having something to go to and, have that family with everybody. And Trove became my capoeira dad, and taught me so much about it, so many stories. And it just, I fell in love with capoeira because of him, and I will always love capoeira, always train, always go back to it, because it did become a part of me, a part of my life, and just helped me get through a lot of things. Having that weekly thing to go to, having the family, the community that you're talking about. I remember the first game that really clicked for me was with Largatisha. I remember being super, that awkward kind of like stiff arms, not really knowing what to do. And, I remember the first time it clicked was a game after class in Majishi martial arts. That was after the Y. And we played a game, and I walked away from it, and I was just like, oh my God, I get it. I get it now. It happened. I can have a flow. I can have this conversation without like stopping and pausing and thinking. And so I was already in love with it, but from that moment forward, it just like sent me. And so, Shrove, my capoeira dad, Largatisha, definitely my capoeira uncle. Like I grew up with them and grew up with capoeira, and I love hearing all these stories, and I'm really thankful to be a part of it. Really thankful that you guys created this, and it's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I, because this made me think of something. Can I interject something? And someone here is being very modest, which I think we all, which is good, because you don't want a rampant ego. But I want to speak about Julie, because Julie's being very modest. I remember some events. Now the events, I'm not going to remember the names or the years, but I do remember some events. And Julie was kind enough to open her home to a lot of people. A lot of people. I don't mean two people sleeping on the floor, or a lot of people from out of town. A lot of times we would have out of town guests. And at the time, Julie was living in Lansing. If I'm not mistaken, that was Lansing. But it would be events at Grand Valley, and it would be events in Detroit, and there go the baby. It would be events in Grand Valley, it would be events in Detroit. And like if a messenger came, he would travel. He would go to Grand Valley, Detroit. But Julie was gracious enough to open her home. And I remember some parties we had over there where she would graciously feed a whole bunch of people. And you know how capoeiristas can eat.
And I wash clothes too.
And wash clothes and everything. So one of the things that contramestrepequenininho and I were discussing in putting this together is that the history of capoeira in Detroit or in Michigan, the way we're telling it, is for me, and I'm sure for him and maybe everybody, it's not just about people who all they did was play capoeira. It was other things that were integral to keep capoeira going. And a lot of people like Julie did, and she played capoeira well too. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's a lot of things that went on behind the scenes that only few people know about that continued to keep capoeira growing. Largatisha had mentioned, and I have to give a shout out to my mom. She's no longer here, but I remember my mom and her cousin, which would be my cousin Cookie, they would man the table at the bachizados that we had all day. Never complained, never said a word, took money, signed people up, giving people flyers. They never jingled a day in their life, but they were very integral to the growth of our group at the time, or at least those events, because, well, they were there, and at the end of the day, I didn't have to worry about my mom taking no money, or they would just stay the whole day, run and get people food and do things. And this is what we were talking about parts of history that people are not aware of. It's just not, oh, we went here and taught there, oh, we went here and did this demo. It's like Shaquana had a home on the southwest side of Detroit, not too far from where Largatisha stays now. And I remember, I can't remember what year Agitado that was, because they all honestly start to run together after a while. But in her loft, she had a loft above her house or above the garage or something. And Marcelo stayed there, Lagosta stayed there, Bengala stayed there. I believe Inju was there that year too, but I can't remember. But it was like 4 people staying there.
2009.
2009, yes.
Mhm.
And she didn't ask for anything. She just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Didn't ask for a thing. And you know, these are names that people may not even be aware of because they no longer play capoeira or anything, but it's people I still talk to. I still talk to Shaquana every now and again. I'll say, hey, what's going on? And you know, me and her have a connection because our mother, her mother and my aunt grew up together. So we had a connection that we only found out about through capoeira, honestly. But you know, and it's these people that I really, they're part of capoeira too to me, because without people opening their homes, without people letting people sleep on their floors, without people letting people sleep in their beds, without people there, we couldn't have done this. And it's very important to me that these people are known, whether it's among a lot of people or 5 people, 25,000 people, I don't care. They have to be known, because I'm going to say, and my end, without them, and without having certain conversations, being encouraged, I wouldn't be doing this. Because honestly, for me, and I'm not going to get into none of this stuff because it's not appropriate. I had, it was not easy for me to continue capoeira. It still ain't easy. But these people who may never, or who may have jingled, never jingled, are the reason that I'm still going. And there, if I could etch it into the name of capoeira Michigan history, a lot of people's names would be etched. Sharmila, when Sharmila would host people over her house, Poundy Mel, she would host people over her house. When we did Chrysler, the first Chrysler Arts Beats and Eats, we did a demo. And it was the weirdest demo ever, because everybody was like bleeding, and it was very weird. Like, it was like these crazy things on, it was blood. I don't know why everybody was bleeding, but they were bleeding. And it was just crazy. But Sharmila hosted a lot of people. She lived out that way. She hosted a lot of people at her house. Baloo did a lot of things. Baloo would do videography and tape a lot of things that we did, in addition to training. You know, people train them, just other things that they did. I'm sure I could name more people. I know I'm forgetting people, because a lot of people came through, and a lot of people, no one came through without giving a contribution. They did something. And I just want to definitely exalt them. I mean, Show Grande had to leave due to emergency, but Baiano and Show Grande, we used to, if you guys remember this, we used to train in a field at Wayne State, Mathai Field, when we didn't have any space. We'll go out to Mathai Field at Wayne State on Warren. And we would train, and all these people would come up to us and ask us what we're doing. We got these bow and arrows and things of that nature. And we trained out there to a while, till then we went to Stressage on Wyoming, when we was in the back of a massage school, and we used to steal their rocks for dough browns. The lady would be like, I had about 10 rocks here. We were like, well, we don't know what happened to them. I mean, I don't know where to go.
I got a couple of them still.
and we would have the weirdest experiences though. It was like, remember the guy who came off the street, was like, he did Egyptian Kung Fu and he wanted to challenge us?
Yes.
It was like, we were just like in teaching, and it's like, it was like just random people coming up, and Melandro was there, because I was teaching a young lady, and all I remember is looking off to the side. Melandro's like, I'm gonna handle this. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna keep teaching. So I was teaching this young lady, and I remember looking off to the side, and all I see is like the guy being slammed. And I'm like, what's going on? And then he left. And I'm like, why is this stuff always like happening?
Yeah.
Like, we were just there like teaching. like, you know, but it was, you know, all these crazy stories that was a part of, we had to move forward, you know, with things and things. So I definitely, I don't want to talk too much, but which I end up doing anyway, but I want to etch these people's names that people may not, they don't know. Vampira would do some stuff. Vampira, Muscatero, of course. Me and Muscatero have an eye relationship. Game of Thrones. Okay. But Muscatero was integral. I remember we did a demo. We were in an automotive newspaper because Cobra Verde Gabriel at the time had some connection, and we got into I still have a clipping somewhere. It's automotive newspaper, but we were at a Body Mind Spirit Festival in Warren at like some community college. I can't remember which one. Macomb Community College, I think. And me and Muscatero were like doing some demos or something. And, you know, so it's a lot of, I'm just saying, it's a lot of people that have done a lot. And they're being modest. And I just personally want to thank them and acknowledge them, because you guys have no idea how many times I was going to quit and never do capoeira again. Like, it's a lot, because it was just a lot going on for me, particularly like when I had a lot of these injuries that require surgery. I'm like, why am I continuing to do this? Why am I continuing to hurt myself or put myself through this pain? And then lo and behold, what I'm saying is someone comes with a request. And I'm like, okay, well, it's capoeira, you know, I want to do it. And then, you know, or someone comes with an offer, or someone comes with an encouraging word or a pat on the back. So all those people, I personally want to thank, and they, to me, are part of the history, at least my history of capoeira. Langy, we could talk all day about how I even met Langy, which was, we have to go into that in a different form, because it's nothing crazy. It's just like from an internet post that she wrote, and I contacted her. And then just from there, we just clicked. And, you know, amongst other people and contramestrepequenininho, we've been knowing each other. It's got to be over 30 years. It's been a long time. And I just want to put this out there, because it's always been a narrative that somehow we don't get along. I don't know where this narrative has come from, but it's been there. I've heard, I'm like, where is this coming from? So I want to publicly say, we more than get along. Me and contramestrepequenininho talking about stuff outside of capoeira, like Kamen Rider and Ultraman. So I'm talking to you about Ultraman. We get along.
I'm waiting on season 3.
All right, now. Me too. So, you know, we were doing, I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. I follow his career. So when he asked us to do, be part of the show, I looked stoic, but I had to contain my excitement. I was like, wow, I want to ask you, do I get to hit somebody with a chair? Can I hit some, you know, I like, can I, you know, throw somebody into the ring, you know? So people
appreciate that, brother. I appreciate
and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And so, yeah, follow your Instagram posts and, you know, see what you're up to. Because everybody here, I consider a brother or a sister. We might not talk for 500 years. I still consider you a brother or sister, because that's what capoeira to me brings. Family. Especially as I get older and see the importance of having people around you that's a positive influence in the community. And for me, it's not so much about who can do this great physical movement. It's really not, because think with enough training and time and patience and knowing your body, you can do it to a degree. Some you got to modify, some you don't. To me, it's your spirit. because that requires much more with the spirit you bring, and much more work than a physical movement. If you got a good spirit, we good. We are good because I'm trying to see something outside of the surface. And everybody on this call, I have a connection with. Makaku Aranya, I met him and like we find out we both work in education. So, you know, when I met him, I feel this generous spirit. Then we find out like, oh, we both work in education. And so, you know, it's those connections I think that are very, very important. And they too belong in the history of it too, because without these connections, none of this works. And, you know, that's going to be it for me. That's all I want to say. But, you know, I do want everybody on here to know, whether I talk to you today, whether I haven't talked to you in a while, I love you. I have fond memories. I remember, my memory's not as bad as you would think. I remember a lot of stuff. Dates and stuff, okay, they run together. But the events or what was happening, I remember vividly. And everybody here has been positive. And without you guys, there would be no Trovoada in Capoeira. I'll just be some dude that would have quit because the first day, if I'm gonna tell you this story, I'm gonna quit. Shango had to leave. He'll remember this. Melandro, you wasn't there. Barrett, I think you weren't in the locker room, or you might have been. The first day I did Capoeira, yes, I regurgitated. And it was an eye-opening experience for me because I'm like, okay, I need to do this because it was difficult for me. I think if it would have been too easy, I probably wouldn't have went back. But it was difficult. And I'm like, okay. And I know everybody's looking, but he's not coming back. But I came back the next week, good to go. And to this day, I do not eat before Capoeira ever. I've never, to this day, I don't do it. So if, like Melandro was saying, all the issues that I've had with my body and everything, if I can continue to try to do Capoeira, it's because of the spirit of it and the community and the people that are on this call and others who could not make this call who are part of it. That's why. And so I, much like Melandro, feel that if you want it, it's there for you. You just got to do it and do it. Modify some stuff. I mean, none of us perfect. A lot of these movements came from a modification of something. Then they became a movement. And so be patient with yourself and keep yourself in the history, meaning you are the history. Without you, there is no living, breathing Capoeira. It'll leave. It won't be here. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Trovada. Obrigado, obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigado.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you, thank
you. Let's see. We had a couple of other individuals in here as well too. Let's see. They can introduce themselves. Markus.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Markus, aka Agitado, and say glad to see everybody. So many faces. I'm really glad that this happened, and thank you guys for putting this together. So I'm going to go back to what my brother talked about earlier, Lakatisha. You did mention how we started Capoeira. We had a friend that we were practicing African martial art, African version of Wushu in high school. But this friend of ours would take us to the YMCA here on the west side of Detroit. And we met two guys that had dreads. One was named Phyllis, and another one I think it was Kashaka. I think I'm saying his name right. And I'm mentioning those two because I was always interested to find out how they got started in Capoeira. And I'm just wondering if Barrett and Trove or maybe Melandro, Bayano, if anybody heard those two individuals before. But Jonathan and I know we were exposed to Capoeira. I think it was even before we saw the movie Only the Strong. We saw those two guys and they taught us a move. And it was funny because we thought we were capoeiristas at that point. When we started the martial art, the Wushu martial art we were training in. We started, and I remember one day we got there, and we were sparring with people there, and I was telling my brother to use capoeira to fight because we didn't know any martial arts prior to that. And it was funny because we weren't even capoeiristas, but we were claiming capoeira at that time. So anyway, that was our exposure to capoeira, and as my brother stated, we found out he did a search on the internet to find capoeira at the YMCA. And I remember when we got there, we saw Trove and Carvon, Nego Bom, and we also saw Mayozo, and I don't think his brother was there, but I know it was Mayozo, and we remember just seeing him, and Karajan. Karajan was there. I remember seeing those two guys playing and doing some moves, and we saw one move, and then after that we were hooked. And my brother was going to Grand Valley, I think, at that time, so I was training there at the different YMCA's, the one in Redford and the one in 7 Mile. And so I've been knowing Professor Trove and Nego Bom for a long time. Man, I had to share this memory. I don't think they even remember, but they came to my graduation. I was in high school when I started capoeira, and they came to my graduation and the after part and the graduation party. And I remember Trove gave me it was a present. It was a martial art DVD. I think it was 2 of them. And it's funny because anytime we meet, he's still doing that to today. I got some DVDs I still got to watch, and books, kung fu martial arts. And so it's really nice to have Trove and Nego Bom still to have this event, to see two guys here who have good hearts. Also very fortunate to have met everyone else here. Julie Muscatero, who's gone now, and definitely with Talento, and so many people that I made friends as my brother started capoeira at Grand Valley, and really surprising me too. A lot of people at Grand Valley, well, a few people have actually gotten married. I'm not sure if they all met through capoeira, but when I was there learning capoeira and meeting those friends, a few of them have gotten married during that time. And so it was nice to see Talento and his wife, Deanna, still doing some things. I've seen you guys on Facebook some time ago. So yeah, so I just really wanted to shout these guys out. Really appreciate Nego Bom and Trove and Balu, the group here. Guys have really good hearts, and I'm just really glad this happened. Yep. And Master Pequenininho, I'm trying to remember. I know I've met you before, but I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time remembering what events we would have met you at. But I'm sure it was one of the times we did a small demo, maybe somewhere around Wayne State, and I remember you. I think that may have been the only time I've seen you there before. So, but I'm just glad to touch base with you again. Nice to see you again too, sir. Yep.
Well, thank you. I was going to ask him, like, was I standing up straight or upside down? I don't know.
Yeah, upside down, if I can remember.
Probably upside down. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Actually, can I share a very fond memory I have with Agitado and Lagartixa? So when I started capoeira, I was at your house, and you were teaching me how to string up my berimbau and how to play berimbau, and you were the ones who were telling me to watch the TV while I played and say what was going on to learn how to play and sing at the same time. And I remember my verga broke, so you gave me one. And it's still my favorite. I take this to like every single class and play this all the time. So I still have that berimbau, and I still play it. It's the main instrument. That's why it's at the top. So
wow, thanks for sharing that, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
These are these stories that need to be shared all of the time. It's, hey, Vega broke. Here's another one. Rame snapped. What are you gonna do? All of these different things. These are jewels that a lot of people don't know, just by our connections, but just how I can say capoeira has brought people together. I'll segue on something actually Trovado was talking about earlier. The we've all like lived it and things like that. We've seen the progression of capoeira, not just capoeira, but martial arts in itself. And we have, I'll give the example. Old story, if everybody, I don't know, mostly everyone remember it. Like, what was a true black belt? A true black belt wasn't actually, you know, you got a belt that was just actually black. It was the whole fact that you kept training. You start off with a white belt, and you kept training so hard, so hard, so hard until, guess what? Later on, years down the line in your life, that belt started turning black. Why? From all of that dirt, sweat, and training and everything that you went through. These stories are our version of a black belt. And again, if we don't share them, nobody else will. I'm just honest about it. No one else will. It'll just be the word of mouth, but the word of mouth actually hasn't had the force behind it, which is now this social media and this internet presence, which again, you know, capoeira has helped us a lot, you know, whether it's some people need something to do to work out. Some people want to, you know, lose weight. Some people love music. Some people love dance. Some people love new languages. It just touches people in its own way, shape, and form. However, there's not, I'm honest about this, there's not a lot of communication that goes about, that talks about the actual base learning, the base dirt levels of things that were the individuals here in Detroit. We can hear it, we hear it mostly about either, you know, mestres that have come and helped. They have come and put their influence in Detroit and Michigan. They've had their part as well too. You know, from where we had different mestres we've had come through here. Mestre Capoeira, we've had I may be saying the name of Umanao, if I'm saying it correctly. You know, we've had different mestres and different individuals that have come here, and they have been a staple that has helped capoeira here in Michigan, but also when they were gone, we're still here. We're still here. We're still here holding that torch. We're still here walking and living in capoeira. It was actually a I brought this up in a class one time. I believe Macaco Aranya, you remember this. Probably, oh, you know what? Well, I see on here too, David. You probably remember this too. Because that was the same class to get visited. I look at things, especially like capoeiras, you have two choices. You can either do something or you live it. You either do capoeira, you put it on like some pants every other day, and you know, you love it, this, that, and the other. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you actually live it. Living is mostly all of these examples of something that you deal with on a regular basis, has some type of reflection or some type of connection with capoeira. Like, okay, this car was coming this way. I knew I had to skiva to the left and did not get hit, you know, something like that. But again, it has its own way to communicate and talk with people. So even what we're doing here, like I said, I'm very happy. I'm ecstatic about this whole, what we are doing here. Because once we're done, guess what? I'm posting it online and everybody in the whole world gets to see it. So it's like, hey, you know what? If you have anything to say about it, there was nothing negative from us. And there were spammers that came in here and had to be ignorant, but needless to say, that was a learning experience as well. But our end goal, like I said, for me and Professor Travada to even put this together, and then everybody's goal that I know everybody's come around with, we want to be able to live and enjoy capoeira, not with the stereotypical labels. I like to say the Planet Fitness sale of capoeira, where you see a lot of people, you know, going around, look like they just like lost a fight with baby oil and they're all shining and this, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I just finished training, it's capoeira, yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, but I'm seeing everybody has 6-packs and possibly 8 to 10 packs. Most of the people can't turn their neck because they have so much muscle in their neck. So I can't see you really doing the Austin Mile or something, but this has been the commercial selling point of capoeira now. You know, the big, like, you can come out looking like this guy, but what about the person that's like, you know, maybe like 220, 300 pounds, where they actually love just to move and they love capoeira? That's the type of thing that I love to see when it's an image of capoeira. You see actual genuine people, not the Planet Fitness commercial, but you see genuine people who came from a different lifestyle, a journey, a way, shape, and form, whatever, but they came to a common goal. They love capoeira. So again, this is, I'm happy with what we have achieved here tonight. So yeah. Let's see, get one more person here. Oh, David came in. If you could possibly give us a quick, like, just brief rundown of your intro real quick. I don't know. There you go.
Hi, sorry, I'm traveling right now, so I just was here to just give a quick salve, and I'm looking forward to hearing the full story when you put it up online. But yeah, just this is me, David. Come to your class a couple times throughout the history. Started with Mandinga in Oakland. Heard a lot of stories about Detroit. You know, Bravada, Nego Bom. I think at the time talked about Malala. Cool. Kind of coming full circle. I'm living in Michigan to get to learning about you guys and the stories of the deeper level. Thank you for that.
Cool. Thank you, David. Yeah, like I was saying, it's just something quick, you know, chill, lay back, enjoy the ride. Let's see, I believe, let me just make sure I got everybody. One person left, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it correctly. Chinwe.
Orlando.
Hello.
ESU alive.
Hi,
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, there we go.
Hey. My name is Chinwe, or Aquatune. Definitely was not expecting to speak. I was just going to, stay silent in the background and hear all these stories. I'm not from Detroit, I'm from Oakland. And it's been interesting to hear these stories, how long everyone has been doing capoeira and the people and experience and moments that keep them in this art form. And I'm like, this is quite inspiring. I started capoeira very recently, December 2019, and Trove said something like, you guys are all my brothers and sisters and their aunts and capoeira uncles, capoeira dads. And I'm like, I'm still a baby. I'm still pooping yellow. You know what I mean? So being part of this call, it's great to hear all this history. Like I said, I just wanted to be quiet and stay in the back, not cause too much grief. And yeah, it's been really dope to hear you all speak. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, and it's, again, this is just, I ask everybody, just say something real quick. It's cool. This is an enjoyment for us to be able to provide this for everybody. It's just, enjoy. This actually has me remember, let's see, there was one event that actually happened. No, not an event. This was actually when we talk about only having the bare essentials and things that you could actually have to actually train in capoeira, things like this. I remember I remember we had who was the only person? It was the only person that had an actual cabeza. So you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're the only person that had a full bit and bow. He had a full bit and bow. And every time we see him, like, wow, this is actually a bit and bow. He has a bit and bow. Like, it was almost like you broke into Fort Knox and took the whole bar off. Like, oh man, this is amazing. And needless to say, the rest of us we're still just stuck on, all of us were still going around, cutting down trees, not letting anybody know that we were cutting tree branches down in Detroit and shaving them and making bitten bows. But he's the only one that had an actual cabeza. So needless to say, the rest of us had to improvise. So we made sure that this was around the time we weren't really thinking that much about our health because we were still young. So we were buying like 2-liter Faygo pops and things like this. So needless to say, that 2-liter of Faygo orange got cut in half in the middle, and that became a cabeza. Needless to say, hey, it made. Oh, you're muted. Oh, what'd you say?
I said we was laughing so hard at that Faygo bottle. Like,
oh man. There were laughs for days.
Why was we going around looking for old spare tires and going to bad houses to cut the trees down?
Oh yeah, doing everything. It was like, man, it was like, no, it was like, that's how you make it. That's where the ramen comes from. Man, yeah, it was almost every time, like at least, I don't know, like maybe around like everybody's house, if you didn't have at the max like 2 tires, you at least had one. There was like one just somewhere. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna make some ramen real quick. But it was like, again, finding those opportunities and then taking advantage of them. But then at the same time, it was like, we didn't have that much. We didn't have that much to actually grow from, but it was still that drive. It was like, there is something about this art that just, it's like, it doesn't want me to just let it go. It just doesn't want me to let it go. And it's funny because I have this joke with my wife, and I told her I tell this joke on there. I told her, I was like, you know what? I was like, I have 3 women in my life that I love. And she was like, what? You're like 3 women? I was like, look, calm down. You're at 11. I need you at a 10. I need you at a -2. So but I was like, you know what? I was like, first and foremost, I was like, I have my mother. Through God, I was brought into this world through her. I was like, secondly, I have you. And third, I had capoeira. She was like, all right, I'll take capoeira. She was like, I'll take capoeira. I can. And I was like, I'm not that jealous. I was like, okay, good. I was like, that's why I married you. Love you. But needless to say, just even things like that, just being able to share those joyous moments of things, even being able to experience these things with a aha. And it's just, and then with Trovada. And I remember the first time I actually met when it was actually Caval, but born Nego Bom now. I remember the first time I met him, it was at actually the first time I met him was actually at the YMCA on Lasser, except this was what it was funny because I was like, who's this guy in the corner with this white bandana on? And I was like, man, he looked like, because he was on the side, like, man, he looked like he about his business. He gonna pick somebody up and throw him across the gym room or something. I was like, okay. So I saw a move, and then I was like, oh. And then it's funny because I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, but Ahab actually uploaded one of his highlight reels, and it shows him and Caval actually playing capoeira in the at the YMCA. Yeah, I was like, oh, I remember that day. So
yeah, we did that at your house. You when we did the highlight, you actually edited the whole thing yourself.
Yeah. See, it's just even that. So I was like, man, I was like, wow, that was.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's but all of us had those different integral ways that we had met each other, and then for me and Trovada.
And that was at the YMCA too. That was
yeah. Yep. That was literally the first time.
And Barrett
actually. Yeah, that was the first time I actually we saw unity in a lot of things, but then also I had to say, I was like, that was the first time I actually saw a high pull off that one move. He did Awu and then did a ponchi and then came back over. I was like, okay, yeah, he's just showing off. It's like got a rubber band spine and everything. I'm over here still working on it. I'm like a tree trunk, but yeah, it was just so funny because even in those instances, it's like each one of us may have been doing something different. We like had something that we were like a little bit more understanding or better than, but we actually chose not to judge each other. We chose only to inspire each other. And that was the thing that I still, that's something not just capoeira, but as universal. We can get past that. We can get past all the other things. This would be so much of a better, a better life journey, everything. But and then even Trovada, I originally met Trovada actually, it was actually at that same event too. It was at that same event as well. That was actually the first time I met Malandro as well too. And I, at that event, we never played capoeira at that event, but it was like years later at Vijeshi, where we had visited. It was me and another person, Dion, Big Dion, Computador. Yeah, we went, visited, and it was funny. I don't know if anybody actually ever told you about that at the end of Trovada. There was a whole, after that, everybody kept saying, it was like, oh, what was the harder with the giants like? It was like, what was the harder with the two giants like? I'm like, what? It was like, yeah, you both like tall. It was like, which giant got the other one? I was like, neither one. We just play capoeira. And it was like, oh. But it was just so funny because, even those instances, it was like, somebody tried to drop a ear, like division. And it was like, no, that actually didn't happen. We enjoyed the order. We have fun. And, again, that's just, I love what we're doing here because, again, it breaks a lot of the stigmas or the false advertising and the lies and things that have actually been put out there about all of us. And this is a great thing that we have done. And I just thank you all. I truly thank you all. And I'm very appreciative of your time and everything that you have done for this evening. At first I was just like expecting, I was like, maybe we may at least have 2 or 3 people, but here we are. And like I said, I don't see this as actually being the first time and the last time. I see this happening again and multiple other times, just for the whole fact of, it needs to continue to happen. So yeah.
Chin-Wei had her hand up, I thought, then I saw it go down. Is it? And
Yeah,
again, someone else being too modest, Chin-Wei, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh,
Go ahead. Did you have a question?
I was just going to say, I totally didn't even introduce myself correctly, but what am I being modest about?
Didn't you film a documentary in Brazil on capoeira?
Once upon a time in a dream, yeah.
Yeah, that was once upon a time last year. So if you guys are not familiar, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a part of a series entitled If Cities Could Dance.
Yes.
And so Chin-Wei directed, and I saw her expert direction. She was like ordering people, get over there, stand by that camera and make a pose. Do the owl right. Take 25. Go over there and do
it. It was not all like that.
So, but no, she film. You explain what you did because you're being too modest, and you can do it more justice than me.
Okay, so yes, I did make a short documentary about capoeira, mostly looking at it through my own personal journey through the art form and through my teacher's journey, Melandro's journey through the art form. So we filmed in the Bay Area where we talked about capoeira's history in the Bay Area, and then we went to Bahia and we're able to talk about capoeira's history, like in the Mecca, the Mecca of capoeira, and be able to include my school, Philishipimba, the nucleo that's there, and professorial language there as well. And I'm not doing it justice right now because I'm like all tongue-tied, but that is pretty much the gist of what it was. It's just a short documentary on capoeira, why I love it so much, why I think more Black people should be a part of it. That was a big thing. When I first started capoeira, I was like, yo, I'm the only Black girl in class. That is interesting. Now I'm used to being a one of one somewhere. Like that is just my story. But in an Afro-Brazilian martial art, and a martial art created by descendants of Africans, I'm the only Black woman here. There's like 2 other Black men here. One of them is the teacher. This is peculiar. So that was what the documentary was about. And yeah.
Oh, see, thank you for sharing that. Don't be modest. I was just waiting for the right time to put you on the spot. I just had to, your hand going up was like perfect. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get her. Talento too. Talento is doing something Michigan-wide that he is again being modest about, that I think he may want to talk about.
Good thing I'm gonna let you know.
Right?
I don't know.
If I go online and Google it, I'm gonna post it in the chat. Chinwei, yeah, you're awesome. So yeah, your link for the
I saw it. Thank you so much for linking that.
no problem. This is the thing. Everybody deserves their talk. If everybody knows not what you have done for capoeira, but what you have done. That's the core. So yeah, so thank you for what you do. So Talento, yeah.
Your audio is breaking up. Sorry, your audio is like, it's hard to hear. I don't know if anyone saw the problem.
Oh, was that for me or yeah? Oh, okay. How about now? Okay, cool. All right, thanks. Talento?
Not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, so yeah, me and Trovada know. Yeah.
Oh, that one thing with the stuff and the things. The Federation idea. Oh yeah. So after the article in Caps, right, that came out about the investigations in Brazil, I talked to a lot of people in Michigan about coming up with a Capoeira Federation, not to make one group, make one core system, none of that stuff, but to make a shared code of conduct, shared set of ethics, and to hold each other accountable, hold the community accountable, because the current structure wasn't there, right? There were bad things that could still happen easily, and there wasn't really a source of checks on people. So we're working through that. Talked with Pequenininho. Actually talked to Versace a little bit too. Some of the work that Capoeira Batuque is doing out there. But yeah, so that was a first go with grander schemes as well of events, school support, seeing if it could be something where, like, if a school wanted to start up, they could get some assistance from this federation. If they were struggling, they could get some assistance. If they wanted to start a program somewhere, they could get some resources to help start that up. So that hasn't gone a whole lot of places. I still have all the stuff. So I still have all the documents that we talked about, all the ideas that we have. But in in true capoeira fashion, if it doesn't work the first time, just put it in your back pocket and wait for that next opportunity to come around. There's always another time for another mea lua. So yeah, it's not gone. It's just looking for a different angle, different opportunity to try and find that that way to come together as a strong community, very similar to this, right? Talk to each other, know each other more, inside the hada and outside the hada.
Thank you, Talento. And you know, even when Talento had brought the idea across, you know, I saw it and I was like, you know what, they're actually, especially from, you know, the things that have happened inside of Capoeira and in different groups across the world, it's a terrible thing. But you know, you still, the good thing that has happened, I'll say there's goods and bads of it. The bads of individuals using a level of a title to use as a band of power against individuals, which is something totally terrible. But the good thing that happened out of it is the individuals being exposed, and then at the same time, the positive and the right individuals are now being able to step up and actually live and walk their mission and their journey. You know, it's always at times where you have to, like, you know, you got to weed out the bad to get to the good. And, you know, sometimes that is one of those instances, but Talento saw this happening and he chose to make he had an idea. And I'm going to actually I'm going to take back that word that I just said, because I program myself not to say negative keywords. It's not that he had an idea. He has created an idea. He has created a vision, because capoeira always changes. It never stays the same. The things that we have are the different methods, whether it be capoeira regional, whether it be capoeira Angola, whether it be contemporânea. They, you know, everything changes in such a way. Some of them stay the same, some of them change. However, his idea is something that actually needs to be put in every school. There needs to be a code of conduct. There needs to be rules. There needs to be things that you're accountable for, if they're not already put in place. But the big thing, much like this, is the key word: unity. Unity. You can't imagine, I mean, even if you look at it, you can't imagine seeing, nobody else could imagine seeing everybody in here either playing capoeira or walking with a bateria, playing instruments, and how powerful that would actually be. Just everybody just doing that. That's something in itself just amazing. But as well as everything that everybody brings, even till today. You know, Talento being in Grand Rapids, you know, Professor Lam being in Toronto, you know, Professor Tawada, you know, being here, Nego Bom being here, bringing his capacity and everything that's his creative aspects in the ring and outside of the ring. Markus, his experience, his connection. Julie, her connection with actually, you know, helping to inspire and actually uplift individuals inside of capoeira, and with her, and that even helped to grow herself. Lagatisha, I was gonna tell him that one day. Lagatisha, how, like I said, how he talks, he reminds me of almost like the Lionel Richie of like capoeira, because it was like, because he's like smooth talking, but then at the same time, it's like, dude guy, he get it across. Cabela being, you know, new to capoeira, but also being able to find a family and people with it. You know, Barrett, Barrett being an actual founding rock and everything inside of this, and just being able to, help where it is now. Everybody, Talento. Oh, thank you, Talento. And then, everybody, Mr. Vastillo, everything, he has brought as well. I remember the first time I met him. Are you still on?
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. I remember like the first time I actually met him, it was actually, I've heard of him and I think I briefly saw him like in passing, but I really my first time actually meeting him and talking to him was when I went to, had like that was actually the journeys that was like, go on and actually start seeing capoeira everywhere else. But I went to New York and I went to Mr. Joe Grange school. And I had saw you there at that time, and we were just talking. We were talking about what was it, his bird and his turtle that he has. And it was like, oh, it was like, oh, it's the bird.
Oh man, that's right.
Yeah, and it was
Papagayo.
yeah, and it was funny. It's but even that connection right there, I was like, yeah, this. And he was like, yeah, no, like. It was like it was a brief conversation, but then even being able to like meet him and talk, and then later on, I think we saw, God, where else we saw each other again. And but just to be like, wow, these are individuals, and I have to say it like that in such a way. These are what can happen also, and we've most of us have experienced it in the capoeira community, is as far it's level of division. The division coming from either you do capoeira Hazel now, I do capoeira Angola, so we're enemies. You do contemporary, you do Mujinho, and we don't like each other. Your group is this group, and this group is this group. Your mestre is this mestre is that mestre. Even that as well. The how do I want to say the rivalries that actually come from not really ourselves, but have actually in such a way were passed on to us by our mestre. As far as, oh, well, I don't like this, I don't like this person because they did something in 1972. I'm like, I wasn't even born, so why am I a part of your 1972 problem? And yeah, so what is this about? But all of those different things, when we talk about all the different things that we've gone through, not just like not a suffering aspect, but we endured. Sometimes it came from the mestre, sometimes it came from the events, sometimes it came from different instances. But guess what? We're all still here, and we're talking to each other in a positive way. So yeah, this is a great thing. It's a great thing. I got a point. I'm gonna poke at him because I know he's just been sitting back, but he actually has a lot of positive words that he can say. Macaco aranha, fala.
I'm sorry, give me a little more of a cue than Bala, please. Go through us today.
Go ahead and speak.
I'm not sure what to speak on.
It could be anything. The sky's blue. It's dark tonight. I don't know.
I'm really just thankful, honestly. I appreciate the community, and I appreciate the history, and I certainly look forward to the future. I think Professor Trovada, contramestre, really doing incredible work in the area. It's so nice to meet so many other people that have been connected to the work that I didn't know anything about, and I can't appreciate the stories enough.
No, Seth had his hand up.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say that most definitely I was appreciating and vibing with the common theme of capoeira being more than a physical art. It encompasses the spirituality, the culture, and the camaraderie. And throughout my time here in Detroit, I would pop in and out of capoeira And every time, no matter who I met, either it be Professor Trovada, who was just more like a maestre to me, or a contramestre, or when I'd randomly see anyone like a Tisha or Boz out, it would always be everything but positivity. And I have so much history going back with you guys on a small scale to where the small things led up to even my daughter learning capoeira without my knowledge, because Boz somehow was affiliated with a school on the east side that she was going to, and he had a class down there teaching for capoeira. And one day she's in the house and of course, you're not supposed to be flipping in the house, but she was doing awus between the furniture so good. I paused and how are you doing this? And she's like, I was doing capoeira, Daddy. And I was like, oh my God. And even before asking her, I acknowledged that her awu was better than mine. And I was like, and at the time she was like 5, and it was just so amazing. And it's a full circle because I was there when Lagatisha was teaching Boss how to backflip and dropping him on his head at the YMCA. And now, he's teaching my daughter how to do capoeira. And that's, it's just amazing. And most definitely, to my knowledge, none of this wouldn't have been able to happen if not for Trovada, because when I first came around, he was the only one always there with capoeira in the city. So it was pretty crazy. And I appreciate you for that, because if not for you, I truly believe that it wouldn't have been able to be kept up so much. So, muito obrigado.
Thank you, brother.
I found something that I gotta share. Let me see. Found this picture. You guys see it? Everybody knows who that guy is. Yeah, that was in New York, like that first time. You didn't see the
Oh
turtles.
man, that's an old picture.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's turtles over there in the corner somewhere. But I was just thinking about that when I was trying to find pictures and everything. I was like, oh yeah, I remember I got this old picture. Oh man.
Wow. I was gonna say this. Anyone have, I know we're about to head out, but anyone have any questions that brief that, just a lot of times questions will stir memories because it's a lot happening. Julie has a question, I think.
I've been kind of out of the Capoeira Regional for a while, and I'm kind of curious. I'm not really sure, but does Capoeira Mandinga still exist? And anybody actually train under that group name anymore? Because I'm just going to say I got a whole lot of Mandinga t-shirts and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't need it. Anybody need it?
I know there
Marcelo in Ubatuba, and
he's in Ubatuba.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at her face. Help me out. Sabia. Sabia still teaches. I'm not sure if she uses the Mandinga name,
yeah,
but I'm not sure that she doesn't either.
Considering himself.
Yeah, but I'm sure she might be able to use some, because when I went and visited her one time, I saw they were still wearing the pants with the logo. But I didn't ask her, but I saw a picture on the wall and it was Marcelo and stuff. So I'm just gonna assume that they are still, because you know what, they're still the website is still, no, is it capoeiramanjinga.org or capoeiradetroit.org? Might be capoeiradetroit.org, but I think she would probably be able to use them.
Okay. And the only other thing that I wanted to say, and I want to make sure that, I know a few of you have left, but if you're ever up here in the Lansing area, my door is always open. There'll always be food on the table for you. There's always a bed. I still got a nice dojo, still got a bateria. So anytime you guys want to get together, I'll pack up the car, I'll bring it all down to you, whatever. We can still get together, have a good time, play a nice samba for me. We'll dance like crazy, right?
Thank you.
You know, I hope that this meetup gonna happen on a regular basis. Calvin, thank you for helping organize this and put this together, and Alvarado for putting the word out to everybody, even though we've got a few strange stragglers that came in. But, you know, this is nice. This has been really nice for me to hear everybody's story, because I came in, you know, kind of not really late to the game. It was like 2006, I think. And I've been in and out. I've been around. I've been away. I come back, you know. But to see the trophy is still here. Magatisha, Agitado, Carval, Nego Bom, and Versace, and people that, you know, and when we're just meeting today. It's just really nice to see everybody and to know that this community is still, we're still together like glue, you know. Doesn't matter the distance, doesn't matter the time. I just want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the beautiful words. And like I said, it's love. And you know, we say that a lot. You know, people say, "Oh, it's love, but it truly is. I mean, this. You know, I thank the heavens above for capoeira all the time, because yeah, some things hurt in it, but it was a hurt that you learn something. You know, particularly for me, I learned a lot about myself, because I'm a shy person. But I remember in demos, I had to be the one out there telling everybody the information. And I do not like to speak publicly, but I had to get outside of my shelf, and it was for capoeira. And so that spilled over into my job, or I don't care if they ask me to do a presentation. I'm like, I've done so many for capoeira, like whatever. So it's other things that, you know, everyone's been talking about, that these other intangibles that you don't really realize until later. Wow, I did that in capoeira. So that's why it's not so foreign to have to do that. So, you know, it's love for everybody that was once on the call and, you know, had things to do and still on the call. And it's a lot of people I could name that play intrapro. Angolinha, you know, I said Shaquana. Angolinha was going to come, but she had a previous engagement. Shaquana, help me out. I'm missing a lot of people. Somebody said his name earlier.
Maywa.
Maywa. Oh man, we could get some stories about a Maywa, but I'm gonna let him be on, because I don't want to tell you. The Maywa was doing. Oh boy. Steve.
Plenty of Jasmine.
Oh man. But Steve.
Steve Stoops.
No. Oh God. You know, I can't remember anybody's capoeira name. Help me out, Tamandua, but Steve.
Coragem.
Gunga. Somebody gotta like help me, because it's like a lot of people I'm seeing their faces, but their names are not coming as quickly as their faces.
Sonora,
yeah.
Why isn't Forca showing up?
Yeah, Forca.
Forca. Oh man, it was so many.
Poesia. Really,
yes.
Yeah.
God, so many people. So, you know, hopefully, as Contramestrepequenininho said, we can do more of these, because, you know, honestly, as I get older and have learned a lot of stuff in life.
You turn invisible?
Yeah, how did that happen? Oh, you know what? The camera fell. Well,
He was gonna change his word, and he said get older. It was wiser. That was the wiser part.
Get wiser. except with the camera. And
Travada,
yes, sir.
can I leave you with something, bro?
Yes.
I was talking to a monk friend of mine about happiness. All right, just want to drop this on the family before this meeting.
Oh, your voice is a little bit, it's like kind of deep.
Is that better?
There we go. Yeah.
Life is good. Thank you. Thank you. Electricians should know this, you know? Okay. He said that happiness is basically you want to forget about the past and you want to stay in the present moment. And your present moment will take you to the future. Because if you're living in the future while you're living in the present, you're basically a slave to two worlds, the future and the past. So in order to go on, add meditation to your practice, do good things for people, be gracious for everything that you're given. And with that, I thank you all for inviting me to this right here. It was totally beautiful. And thank you all once again. My goal was to be a muse and drop and watch the waves spread. And the waves have been fruitful and outstanding. Much respect to all of you guys. Muito bem, obrigado, brother camarada.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Muito obrigado.
Muito obrigado.
Before everybody leaves, we can actually start it right now. I would love for everyone to just, if you have a Facebook group, an Instagram, a website, whatever, I would love for you to actually, can you hear me? I see a lot of people.
We can hear you. You're muffled barely. It's going in.
What about now? Nothing.
We can hear you.
But fine.
Okay. All right. Technology. Oh boy. But I would love to have everybody actually, if you have a Facebook page or website, whatever. Hold on. Let me see. What about now? Can you hear me?
We can hear.
All right. It must be just like I'm gonna go close. I would love for everyone, if you have a website, a Facebook and Instagram. All right. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna unmute.
Medias, guys.
There we go. All right. How about now?
We can hear.
All right. It's bad. I'm an IT technician, and then I'm like, I want to hit it with a hammer. But I would love everybody to just your website, your Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Yep. Thank you. And you know what? Actually, can you hold that up again? There, I'm gonna put it in there. Let's see.
Move it down just a little so we can see the whole thing. Move it over to your, yeah, there you go.
Instagram, Muay Thai MT Research 101. Stands for Muay Thai.
All right. And I'm actually, what I'm doing, everybody, I am putting that information inside of the chat. So if you want to reach out to Barrett to learn more, or about everything that he has to offer, even the like you said, he's making the oils for the pain and everything. I think you guys can talk to him. Everybody.
Oh yeah, old squeaky joints.
There you
That's
go.
me.
And it's I know I'm going to want to rap with you for like a while because I got into like a background besides therapy from Irene Biomassology Institute, and I actually started getting into herbs, different herbal like mixtures and natural pathways.
I just finished Lumi and Efferage, so we can talk, brother.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
We could talk.
Cool.
So I wanted to interject for a minute for everybody. If you are into comics, over in Japan, there is a capoeira manga, and it's called Batuke. I've been reading it for a while. When my daughter gets a little older, I want to put her on it. It's pretty amazing. Some great artwork in it, and the story is pretty amazing. The Grandmaster, Grand Capoeira Mestre in there is pretty unique, and I think they based his story off of our legendary Capoeira Mestre who fought that guy in the bar who tried to pick on him. But it's a good read. The artwork's pretty amazing. I'll post it. I hope you guys check it out too.
Yes, please post that. You are in a realm of everybody that loves comic books and everything.
Please,
so-
yeah, please, please.
You shouldn't have mentioned that. That was dangerous right there. We need to go off right now.
Yeah, you see, now I gotta
Be another
now I
hour
gotta
talking
get
about
some
that thing.
I gotta get some book references, so I'm gonna step away, but continue.
So yeah, thank everybody. But please put how we can get in touch with everybody, your website, your IG, your Facebook, however you prefer to be contacted. Oh, look at that book. I wonder
Yeah.
who
So the main
wrote
character,
that book.
she's a female.
Who wrote that book? Lang, did you write that book? Is that Lang's book? Oh wow.
Yes. Yay.
And so thank you. And let's keep in touch, everyone. You know, we want to do this again, definitely, but you know, in our daily Facebook droppings and all that don't sound right. Our daily Facebook and Instagram things, we can drop each other a line, you know, just to say hi and you know, never underestimate the power of a hi, how are you? You know, we don't have to have a long, deep capo conversation. It could be, hey, I'm fine. Haven't seen you in a while, and you know, from there. But you know, I think it's important, as we've been saying, the community aspect. But the community aspect to me is much more than just talking about capoeira. I mean, we might want to just see how someone's doing. I guess people I haven't heard from in a long time, and it just to see that they're doing okay is fine. I have anything to do with capoeira. It's just like, wow, okay, that's cool. They're still cool. They're happy. They're doing their thing. You know, like honestly, I haven't talked to Mr. Shango and oh my goodness, it's been a long time. You know, but just to see him, just to see his face, and it's like we never stop talking. So definitely do that. We can you know, talk to each other, keep in touch, you know. And I personally want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for showing up. As contramestrepequenininho said, I expected fully like 2 people, honestly. And to have this response is humbling in that, you know, it just says something about the strength of these relationships over the years that have developed. And I personally want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up and adding your stories to the greater history, because without each individual story, there is no history. So thank you guys, and let's keep in touch.
I got your book, your other books too. I came across that. I don't know if everybody see that. The Capoeira and Candomblé. That was interesting.
Side note, as far as capoeira and candomblé, if there's anyone I'm looking to possibly, I would love a ceremony in Michigan. There's no presence of candomblé here in Michigan, and I'm not certified. I'm looking to go through my rights, and you know, so that's a big part of capoeira as well. It's a big part of the spiritual aspect of it. So if we can get some candomblé priests or priestess out here, that would be amazing.
And
Yeah,
you
that'd be
know,
awesome.
it's funny that you actually said that too, because I've been like I was actually introduced in the candomblé like the first time I went to Brazil, and then I was it was funny. I actually just got through into it. Was like, hey, guess what? We have to do this Orisha performance and everything. It's in like a week or so. Yeah, I'm gonna have you as Omalu. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be Omalu. I'm like, okay. So then I had to learn about Omalu like that, but then go from there. And then what it did again, it just opened up the other platform of something else. So, but however, I'm working on that right now to get someone actually here that I want to say is reputable, because you know you everybody's heard of the story. You may get a Facebook message from somebody like, hey, oh well, the spirits talked to me and I said I got to give you a message today, and it's like, okay. No, but but needless to say, I've actually been able to meet other individuals because I actually a practitioner of Ifa Sheshe. So you know, I've been, it's been a couple of years now, but I still have my resonance that started with Candomblé. Candomblé started me to want to go down the path of Ifa. But then, you know, there's still a lot of different things that I still work on. And I paused on it for a moment. There were at least 4 different Orishas that I was taught to actually, there's specific dances and the rhythms. So, you know, I offer those. I paused for a moment just because of COVID to teach the classes, but you know, it looks like I'm just be getting back into it piece by piece. So yeah. But however, I do know that because Candomblé is something that's not just something you could go to the corner store and be like, okay, I'm gonna learn Candomblé. Yeah, that's in its own self, that's a journey. So
You got to make sure you know about your palo.
what's that again now?
You have to make sure you know about your palo and your santo.
Yeah. And somebody asked, I was like, okay, what do you have? They was like, oh, what do you have? I was like, you're supposed to have a mind, Paji Santo. They're like, what mind? I'm like, yes, a mother and a father. I was like Ifa, you can't have you have a mother and a father. Who over your Ori? Who over your head? So, so yeah. But you know, these talks again, this is something that I've worked. I'm trying to make a little bit stronger here. It was actually the Orisha dance part that was I like I said, I give him his props on how he did this. My previous teacher, he gave an influence. He wanted the people that wanted to learn, he offered the opportunity for them to learn more about Candomblé. So for we actually have myself, my wife, and then an old group. We started the first Brazilian Day Street Festival here in Michigan in 2016. So, you know, that started off with like 308 people. Then it went to 508. And it was like 1,150. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're growing. All right, good. But one of the biggest influences that wanted to always make sure was a part of the festival was if it had to give a representation also to not just Afro-Brazilian, but also African African traditional dances and paths. And one specific one was Candomblé. So I still work to make sure that Candomblé is part of the Brazilian Day Street Festival, and then also forms of Ifa Sheshe as well too, because they're all interconnected. And I looked at it, if people that go deep into especially capoeira, you'll start to see the nuances that actually connect African traditional religions or dances, or folkloric dances, music, instruments, all of those things are all interconnected. So yeah, so we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on it. I'm not just say myself, we, because I don't look at this as just like me as the only person in the barrel. We can all work on this, not just for Michigan, for Toronto, for any other places in the whole world, wherever we may need to be.
Toronto.
Yeah, that's right. So cool.
Langy had her hand up.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Or did you? Or
Yeah.
did
I did. Actually, in Montreal, a very good friend of mine, Marie Isabelle, she is a capoeirista. She's also part of her school, Filhos de Bimba, but she also teaches Orisha dance. And she spent 3 years living in Bahia, in Salvador, and she learned the traditional Orisha dances. So she might be a really nice resource, someone to connect with if you ever want someone to teach dance. And Orisha dance specifically. So yeah, there are resources out there. So it's nice to have these chats to connect people to. If you're interested, I can send it to Trove, and then he can send it to you if you're interested in connecting with her.
Yes, ma'am.
Always interested. Always
Okay,
interested.
cool.
Please share.
I'll do that.
We thank you for that. I'm like I said, this is we're here to not just inspire each other, but possibly even help as far as in the opportunities that will just, help us to be able to not just grow as individuals, but help our community. Because, this is a lot of, it's Trovada best, most said the best inside of this. And then mostly everybody we've experienced and seen, especially here in Detroit. Detroit can be a hard sell when it comes to capoeira.
True.
it can be a hard sell, but it's not where it has its need. And then at the same time, when you see individuals like ourselves and everybody that, it's influenced our lives in such a way that we continue to live it. That's proof in the pudding right there, is that, it's not hard. It's just, it's going to continue. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow. And with everybody in positivity, it has no other choice but to grow. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I won't possibility come around. I want to be a representative for Barrett selling oils. I'm like, hey, you gotta gets you the stuff that gets your back in place. So, there you go. See, exactly. Like, hey, the walking advertisement, there you go. It's like, hey, look, make it happen. But everybody has something, not just capoeira, to bring to this. His background, just watching it, I apologize because me being an extreme introvert and nerdy about it, I never took the opportunities to visit some of his actual matches. But I'm making sure that I change that, bottom line. So, and that's a promise. Because and I have the opportunity to say this to mostly everybody here. One, I'm so extremely proud of you, of everything that you are and everything that you have always been, and not just the friend, but the man I have seen you grow into. And and it's amazing to be able to see that. Professor Trovada, just being who he has always been and being that inspiration and that icon to so many people. And then not a lot of people just knowing that whisper that was actually in the background or on the side, that actually came from Trovada. From Barrett. Everything that he has helped to inspire all of these individuals with, not just capoeira, but just life and choices, that type of thing, Lagatisha. Dude's amazing, point blank. I mean, all I can say is like lyrically, the dude is like on point, and then just his vibe just, I can say one time I was around him, I was like, his vibe, I never experienced it, but the vibe, let me say, event I never experienced was Woodstock. But it was like being around him, it's almost like, his energy projects like a peaceful zone. So, and I guess it would kind of be scary because it was like, I don't know how he would be if he was mad. So, from that, Cabal, Nego Bom, being able to, just, I say like over here, just more seeing things on Facebook and just general change of, you as well. And then even talking to Trovada, like everybody's doing well. Again, it's great to meet you, and I look forward to meeting you in person as well again. Julie, meeting you on actual Zoom, but meeting you in person as well. Uche, I believe, still there. Yep. Being able to meet you as well, brother. Just hear your story as well, and then see how the future may hold everything as well too. Markus, even you as well. Thank you for coming on and actually being a part of this, and helping this this event to just start on a good note. And I'm just very appreciative of all of you guys. And I just want to open the floor. I know it's late, and if you guys have anything else to say, please feel free to say, and then we can call it a night.
Abraço todos meus irmãos. Boa noite. Tudo bem?
Sou muito obrigado, Júlio.
Ok?
Você trouxe energia muito bem.
É um prazer conhecer vocês.
Saudade de.
It's nice to see you too, and your young man there.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like what Tro was saying that, your house was almost like that compound. It was like a capoeira house, we called it.
Yeah.
And it was like the events after the events, even the horses and all of that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
now
a
the
lot.
boys have all moved out, so there's all the space with beds and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so I gotta go. This old farmer lady gotta get up.
Yep, go ahead.
Right.
So it's really good to see you all, to meet those of you that I haven't met before. And take care, all right?
You do.
Same.
Boa noite.
Boa
Boa
noite.
noite, everybody.
Boa noite.
Boa noite. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you guys.
Muito obrigado a todo mundo. Tchauzinho.
Até logo.
Ciao.
Salve.
Ciao.
Salve.
Tchau, tchau.
All right.